You're on the clock with Tyler Jennings and Jared Perkins, a Prospects Live podcast for everything MLB Draft related. Join us as we discuss the biggest stories from college and high school baseball, bring you interviews from your favorite draft prospects, and break down live looks with Prospects Live analysis across the nation. Get ready, because you're on the clock with Tyler Jennings and Jared Perkins.
Alrighty, welcome to a live episode of On the Clock right here from Fort Worth, Texas. Your Prospects Live MLB Draft and Amateur Baseball podcast presented by Job Bats. Job Bats provides the highest quality ash and maple handcrafted, fully custom bats, apparel, accessories, and more. Enter the code On the Clock 10 at checkout to get 10% off your first purchase. Tyler, we are live in Texas. It's MLB Draft night. We're about, 20 minutes away? How excited are you right now?
Very. I wish we were definitely at the Caglianone Coliseum, but some stuff just didn't really work out in our favor. And it sucks for us. It sucks for kind of just what we do as a whole thing for a year. But we weren't just going to let everything kind of go off to the wayside. Nope. Still going to have some great guests, have some exciting fun tonight. We're going to do the full first round and the comp round picks, which is going to be up to 39. And then we're going to try and hightail it over to the Caglianone Coliseum itself. We're about 10 minutes-ish away. I think we might be able to get in and get some stuff for the second round. So I'm excited for what we have tonight. We're about 18 minutes away from showtime here?
Yep, about 18 minutes away. It's going to be a long night. We got the first, we got the comps, we got the second. I got a lot of cold brew.
Yes, he does.
We're going to have some guests coming in to join us just because we want to bring in some different expertise, some outside expertise. They're going to bring in some different opinions. So we got some big news that came in. We got William Schmidt decided to pull out from the draft, telling teams not to draft him, going to go to LSU. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's very interesting, especially late in the going. It's kind of like an 11th hour kind of deal going on here.
Yeah.
But he doesn't make this decision without understanding that he's not getting the money that he ultimately desires. Derek Curiel wanted some in change, $4 million. And a majority of teams really didn't have him higher than a 4th round pick.
Yeah.
So you're really looking at Derek Curiel going to LSU for 2 years. He'll be eligible again in 2026 as a sophomore, kind of see how that goes from there. Obviously, NIL is going to play a big role in some of these kids' decision makings too. I don't think NIL was a big deal with Schmidt. From the sound of it, it was just his price tag was really high, and he wanted to go to school more than anything else.
Yeah.
And I've seen some people kind of bash that decision for it. I'm not going to name anyone in particular, but I think we already know who that might be. It's just stupid to bash a kid for a decision like this.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, right? You got your family that's going to help you kind of try to make that decision. You're 18 years old. You're trying to figure out what you're trying to do next in life. And you have the opportunity to get drafted, or you have the opportunity to go to college with one of the best baseball schools in the country. You can't fault William Schmidt for doing it. So excited to see what he does with the Tigers. He's now 2027 draft eligible, I think. So he'll have some years there to see if he can kind of build up and increase that draft stock, even though it was already super high.
Yeah, and we're talking about a guy that has probably the best raw 2-pitch mix in this whole draft here, with a really good fastball that's gotten up to 99 and a really good not fastball. We already mentioned that, but the curveball.
Yeah,
the curveball is a legitimate hammer, and I think some teams could even put a 7th grade on the tool here. There's a changeup in there, and doesn't really had much usage, but I mean, when you're dominating with a 2-pitch mix like that, I think it kind of goes to show how good the stuff really is.
Yeah,
we're talking about a hammer that's coming in at 3,000 RPMs and around 80 miles an hour. It really pumps it well off the fastball, and the delivery. I think some teams definitely had some concerns on that coming into the draft. I spoke with at least one team where they were like, "Yeah, Schmidt Stones we're talking about at our range in the first round, but the delivery kind of isn't the greatest." And I think that's a legitimate concern. Deliveries. You kind of want to see a bit more in time, all that kind of sort of thing. And Schmidt's kind of isn't, even though he is very athletic, very fluid. But obviously that wasn't the ultimate thing here from the sounds of it. It just sounded like he opted to go to school. And like you said, I don't blame him for the decision whatsoever. He'll be eligible in 2027. He's only, I think, at 18 years, 9 months right now.
Yep.
So he's still a little bit older for the class, but not PJ Orlando where he's 19 and 1. Derek Curiel, who was going to be over 19 if he stayed in the draft. So It'll be interesting to see how tonight goes. I think with Schmidt, obviously, we kind of moved everything around on the mock draft. We had him at Cleveland at 36, because we thought, for the longest time, that's a kind of name that would go there. Now it's PJ Morlando going to that pick, and in place of Morlando at the Nationals at 39, which is another thing we want to talk about, is now it's Tyson Lewis. Maybe the Nationals kind of drag him down the board a little bit, kind of pay him a little extra.
Yeah.
It's a totally theoretical thing in my mind, but I totally think it could happen.
Yeah, and for those you don't know, I'm sure most people saw Royals traded their comp pick 39 and Caden Wallace to the Washington Nationals to get reliever Hunter Harvey, which one lowers their pool, but they're still 8th in the draft. So they'll still have a lot of draft capital to work with. They got the 41st pick in the second round. So I don't think their strategy changes too much. But then you talked about the Nationals. Now they got an extra, $2.5 million, something around that. Yeah, they could go and pay up for somebody like Morlando, who would potentially go to South Carolina and go to campus. That'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out.
Yeah, and I think it obviously starts with whoever Cleveland takes at 1.
Yeah,
because whoever Cleveland takes at 1 is going to dictate who they take at 36.
Yeah.
And the draft kind of teeters on that a little bit. When you look at the top 5 picks, like Colorado could instantly be like a pivotal pick in the top 5.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the top 2 could be very chalk at this point. We had Wetherholt at 1, and then obviously we have Charlie Condon at 2. That's the 2 picks that I'm like very confident on in the top 5.
Yeah.
Then the Rockies kind of come in, and you're like, do they go bat? Do they go arm? Is it Hagen? Is it Chase? Do you Caglianone with the power playing in that ballpark? He'll hit the third deck more often than not. But it really just comes down to what ends up happening at that pick. And then even if no chaos happens there, what do the White Sox do at 5?
Yeah.
Because I think the A's are pretty straightforward in who they're trying to take. It's either going to be one of JJ or Travis that comes down to 4. Whoever's not 1 is probably going to 4.
Yeah.
And that's not discounting the fact that Cincinnati or Colorado can pull some strings there.
Yeah.
I just fully think that they're going to be going after like the Condons, the Caglianones, either one of Chase Burns or Hagen Smith. But going back to the Nationals, you add $2.4 million to your bonus pool. You're now in the top 10 in bonus pool.
Yep.
I think it's like 7th overall. You have something like $14 million to work with. And the Royals, yes, you do lose that change, but you're still over $13 million. You had the space to kind of work that in. Obviously going to be interesting to see how they kind of put the draft strategy into that a little bit. But overall, I think the Nationals do have leeway and the space to kind of make this happen. And, if it's not Tyson Lewis, who could it be?
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. I fully believe that anybody taken within like 36 to 39 could just end up being a prep bat or prep arm, unless you're talking about the Rockies, who could just go college arm or college bat at 38.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the one key word you hit on there, it's going to be chaos tonight. I think, like you said, after the first 2 picks, it's kind of a crapshoot of any way to go. We did a mock. If anybody hasn't seen it yet, on Prospects Live website, mock 3.0, actually 3.5, because after the William Schmidt move, we made some updates, or Tyler made some updates to it. So is there anything you want to talk about on the mock draft specifically, kind of going into that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, as I'm trying to go through some notes here, what did the Angels do at 8?
Yeah, that was where we struggled. I think that was where we spent most of the time last night.
Yes, we did. We spent, it felt like an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours in that call last night, just trying to figure out what kind of things do the Angels do at 8? Like, could they do, full on slot with Brendan Montgomery, even though he's not really going to move quickly because of his leg injury? Do you go under slot with like Christian Moore and maybe even pay like a high-end prep arm later on in the draft, either like late day 2 or like early day 3? That's what they did with Caden Dan a couple years ago. He was 11th round pick, got $1.5 million out of, I think it was Don Bosco Prep in New Jersey. And then Barrett Kent got something like $1 million and some change last year in like the 7th or 8th round. So like, the Angels definitely going to work into that strategy a little bit. That's why we went Christian Moore at 8, because he comes with that underslot deal. Maybe even see like Cam Smith there, Nick Kurtz maybe could make some sense. But the Angels kind of like are pretty pivotal in this top 10 too, after you get past the Rockies and the White Sox. Because to be honest, Kansas City and St. Louis kind of have the idea of where you're going.
Yeah.
Is either going to be Bryce Rainer, Conor Griffin, Hagen Smith. One of those 3 is going to go 6, 7.
Yeah.
And whoever's not there is going to probably slip by 8, because the Angels kind of look at that fast moving college demographic and kind of just go, you'll be up here in August. Nolan Chanwell a year ago.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens this year, obviously. If it does, again, it still wouldn't be shocking for me.
No.
But if it is Braden Montgomery at 8, I wouldn't be betting my bottom dollar on the fact that he'd be up in, September, October, because of the fact that he's got that serious leg injury they had from Super Regionals a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and I think we talked about Nick Kurtz a little bit, but then we're like, oh, they got Nolan Chanwell. So where does Kurtz play? Like, where does Chanwell play? I mean, so I think the other thing we want to do is we had a couple questions from everybody. We were going to do a stream the night before the Futures game, but got in super late, hit a bunch of traffic, so we didn't get into it too late. So we want to jump on some of those questions. First one we got here, let's see. From Casey Mizzou, would you change the current rules and allow teams to trade picks if it was up to you?
Yes, next question. That's the easiest way to put it. I've been waiting for this forever. Like, picks obviously can be traded. That's the only thing that can be traded in the draft right now.
Yeah.
I would love it to kind of be similar to what the NHL, NFL, and NBA drafts do, where you can, trade the draft picks willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Obviously, maybe not like the NBA, where you can do like 2031 first-round protected crap, which I really don't understand. I obviously don't follow the NBA close enough, but it's just so confusing when you see all these deals that are like 2028 first round protected, 2029 second round, 2031 first round unprotected, and then you're like,
what does that mean?
You're like that scene from CSI where you got all the blinks on the board and you're going, this makes sense, maybe this makes sense. It really is confusing for me, but at the end of the day, yes, I do really want to have pick trading available in the MLB draft. I think it would be perfect to have, and it just makes too much sense. They really need to get on board with it. I understand it's 20 rounds, and that's longer than what you have for the majority of everything else. NHL is only like 7, NFL is the same realm, NBA is just 2. But it would be fun. It would be fun to be chaotic. I like chaos. I really do.
Yeah. We'll get to a couple more questions before we hit the 7 o'clock hour and everything gets kind of kicked off. So Jacob Milham, Twitter account at Jacob Milham KC. True or false? This is the worst draft class of the last 5 years.
2021's the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
2021 was not a great draft class whatsoever. There's obviously some warts here. Everybody has a red flag in this draft class. Bazzana has a red flag. Condon has a red flag. Specifically, you're looking at Bazzana with like, how good of an athlete is he at second base?
Yeah.
And there's like a low and away risk that you run with him too a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of it gets exploited next level, really.
Mm-hmm.
And like Charlie Condon has struggles with sliders.
Yeah.
But there's still enough firepower in the top 10 for me to be like, there's still some value here.
Yeah.
Anything after the top 10 to 15, it is kind of tough because there's not a ton of depth in this class. And that's the thing that we've kind of been like harking on a little bit on Twitter in the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
There's some great value in the first 10 to 15 picks. The prep class is not good. I mean, we've already been over that. It's probably the worst prep class we've seen in the past like 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
But there's not a ton of depth after, pick 15, pick 20.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of looking at more of I think back into the first round could be something like you get some of these prep guys where you value the kind of tools and rejection and go from there.
Yeah.
Instead of buying some of these college bats or college arms where you're kind of just like, maybe it works.
Yeah.
But that's obviously just me. Like,
yeah, I agree with you. I think about the 2020 draft class too, right? And you look at a lot of those guys and how they panned out. I think the top of the class is still pretty good. I think you're going to get talent there if you're in the top 8 to 10 picks, kind of how you mentioned. But like you said, depth is that there. So you kind of wonder about a lot of underslotting. Is that going to happen just because the talent isn't so high at the end of the pool? But at the same time, you get all these guys getting NIL deals and having to compete with that. So it'll be interesting to see what some of those strategies are. The next question we had is from Preston Farr, one of our guys at Prospects Live and also at Royals Miners. Most likely to go earlier than expected, most likely to fall down the board.
So I've thought about this for a couple days now. Some of the prep arms could really just jump off the board pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Desan Hill from Grapevine over here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area is a guy that really sticks to my mind. As a guy that's like really projectable, up to 96 already, has a projectable breaking ball. Really could see him just pop up the board a lot quicker than we think he will. Luke Dickerson, I understand he's had some helium in the back end of the first round, but there's been a lot of jump up in that as well. We had him at like 70 or 80 before this past update, and now he's in like the 40s, and we even think he might even go higher than that. It might be a comp round pick.
Yeah.
His name was leaked to a couple teams in that range when we did the mock this morning. So I'm really interested to see how that really pans out. But I think Dasan Hill is probably one of those guys that gets on the board a lot quicker than we think.
Yeah.
Someone that falls, maybe Ben Hess. I've heard some iffy injury reports on that.
Yeah.
Medicals aren't great. And like medicals kind of do take its toll on some players. You know, if a team values or like looks at that kind of medical report and thinks, oh, that could be a real concern for us down the line, there's a good chance he's falling down the board. If he gets past a certain point, that free fall could just continue forever.
Yeah.
Ben Hess kind of feels like that person to me because it sounds like the back's not in good shape, unfortunately. And I love Ben Hess. Ben Hess is one of my favorite players in this draft class. It sucks he had a bad year in the SEC a little bit because the stuff last year, if he didn't get injured, was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And like we even had his name included in some of the comp round picks today with the mock draft. But I feel like if it's not the comp round, he might fall a little bit.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks. Like I said, I love the kid. And I don't wish negative things on any of these kids whatsoever.
No one does. I mean, you want everybody to have the most success, right? This is like the most exciting day for a lot of these kids. Having this opportunity to really get drafted and start their professional career. So no one's ever wishing ill on these guys. We're just like looking at kind of who the biggest followers are, might be just kind of certain variables, but that doesn't mean we think a kid's bad or he's not going to be able to recover from said injury and those kind of things. So as we approach the hour, I think it may be time to bring in our first guest. We'll add him to the stage here.
What's going on, guys?
Good. Yeah, we're doing well. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Just so people know who you are, give a little bit of background on yourself, why you're joining us here today, kind of talk a little bit of draft.
Yeah, so it was the first round pick of the Cincinnati Reds in 2007. Played 8 years in the major leagues. Right now I coach college baseball. I coach for University of Pittsburgh. So we play in the ACC. So I've seen, some of the guys that have been mentioned here that'll go today and know some of the other prep guys from recruiting and this and that. So yeah, I have a little bit of information here and we'll see. I love the draft. This has always been fun for me. Whenever I was hurt with the Reds, I was lucky enough to get invited up to the draft room. And I went up one day, the scouting director at the time, Chris Buckley, invited me up and I said, hey, what time are we coming back tomorrow? So it's always been a fun thing for me and very enjoyable, this process of evaluating the young talent. And, it's always been enjoyable. So thank you guys for having me today.
Yeah, we appreciate having you on because your perspective is so much different, right? You've seen a lot of these guys play in the ACC. You talked about having some of that draft room experience. Talk about that experience, right, in the draft room. Like, what is it like? A lot of fans don't necessarily know what goes on in those war rooms, but what was that like for you and kind of seeing
it's a little bit different than a fantasy football draft, a little bit different there. There's a lot more voices, right? I think teams run the room in different ways. But you have people that obviously have a scouting background and do that for a living. You have the analytic people, you have medical people, you have kind of the front office that is kind of overseeing the whole process. There's a lot of different opinions. It's kind of something that is just a collaboration of everybody's thoughts. And I would think that I don't know a whole lot about how everyone does it, but there's a lot of different people that get say in where the pick comes from and what direction they go.
Yeah, I love that. I don't think a lot of fans sometimes realize there's like a whole person approach, right, to drafting, right? It's not just the numbers and the box score and looking at the intangibles on the field, but like you said, there's people in there from the medical staff. There's people in there kind of looking at the mental side of things and kind of how they take care of themselves on that side. So there's a lot that goes into it in developing these players. You coached in the ACC. I know you coach against JJ Wetherholt and some other guys. Where there's some outside of JJ Wetherholt, but there's like really some big guys in the ACC that stood out to you.
Yeah, we didn't see Burns pitch this year. We didn't face them.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have some track record with JJ. I think he's he's an awesome player. Just very, very skilled, very, very talented, humble kid. I think he's going to do very well. we have played North Carolina the last 3 years. So Vance Honeycutt is obviously a very, very talented kid. Just, he's somebody that jumps off the table when you see him. We played Nick Kurtz there 2 years ago. He's obviously just a monster dude, like very talented, good kid. Like, he's awesome. I think that he's going to do very well. Who else? The Florida State guy. So Tibbs and Cam Smith. Obviously both going to go do very well today. Just good ball players. I think Tibbs is, to me, this year of guys that we faced, he was the toughest at bat, right? Like he wasn't ever going to chase. He wasn't ever going to swing and miss. You had to get him out in the zone, and that was really tough to do. And Cam Smith hit a big homer against us that, it just kind of effortless power, right? Like it's just a big, strong dude. There's a bunch of guys that we've played and that we saw. I think everybody that we mentioned has homered against us, maybe some of them multiple times. So, I've seen them all do pretty exciting things for sure.
Yeah, I love that. So the other thing I was going to ask you too is, since you were a catcher yourself, just a couple good catchers in this draft. I don't know how much you're kind of in tune with some of them, but do you have like a favorite guy that you've seen catch, at least maybe in the ACC, maybe outside of the ACC, that you're really interested in?
Yeah, we saw the kid from Cal, so we played them out out in Las Vegas. There was a tournament out there at the beginning of the year. We played them the year before also. He had a homer against us too. But, he is incredibly athletic for a catcher, moves really well. The thing that stood out the most to me was just he had good baseball instincts. Like he had a really good feel for what he was doing behind the plate. Seemed like he worked really well with the pitchers, has some power. He's a very talented kid. I think his name will get called here today. Outside of that, I don't have a ton of familiarity with the rest of the guys. The kid from Stanford, I think, will be a good pick here. Obviously the catcher position is unique in the sense that you kind of have to be good at everything, right? Like it's such a defensive position that it's such a intangible position too, right? Like how do you work with the staff? How do you recall scouting reports? All that stuff comes into it. So the makeup when it comes to catchers, I think, is something that you really need to be sure of whenever you're drafting those guys.
Yeah, I love that. For you, kind of on your draft day, you have that player's perspective as well. How did you go through the draft? What was that experience like for you, kind of waiting for your name to get called?
Yeah, it's nervous, right? Like you don't get a whole lot of information, really. Like they'll call you like 10 minutes before they call your name and say, hey, we're thinking about selecting you, figure out a price, and then it's time to go. Like it isn't like, well, the Reds are picking in 4 picks, they might be interested. Well, it's pretty quiet. So you just kind of hang out, enjoy your time, and try not to think about things a whole lot. And at this point, the work is done. So there's really nothing that you can do anyway. It's out of your hands, and you just kind of show up and try to enjoy it the most that you can.
Yeah, I love that. It looks like we're getting things under the way. We're watching the draft in the background here. It looks like the commissioner's coming out here soon to give his little speech. So we're going to give you some pick coverage here in a little bit. Kind of wanted to dive into some more questions. We see some rolling through the chat as well. So one of the other questions that we had, I think most of these are Royals related. So,
oh boy,
let's see what we got here. If one of the upper echelon players, Cags, Wetherholt, Condon, falls to 6, would you expect the Royals to take best available or stay the strict path of Schmidt, Rainer? I'll take a shot at this one since I do a lot of the Royals coverage.
I think I already know your answer too. That's the sad part.
You think I'm going to say they're going to take Wetherholt or Condon? Or
that's what I'm thinking. Is like at that point you might as well just go ahead and take whoever's best available instead of sticking to your line, because everything's so fluid. Everything's going to change so quickly. Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if we have our first overall pick wrong on the mock here in the next 5 minutes. But yeah, that's just where my thought is. I bet you yours is probably the same.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Wetherholt or Condon falling to the Royals, but like if Wetherholt fell, I mean, you're going to take Bryce Rainer or JJ Wetherholt. I mean, I imagine the Royals would go the Wetherholt route.
Yeah. I did see a couple questions on there from some of the fans. I think one of them was Cody specifically, who has quite a few questions he wants to ask, and I think they're all very interesting to really ask too. So Devin, this is for you. Based on your experiences in the draft rooms and everything like that, is there a certain what's in place to have more success for certain draft profiles? Essentially, is what Cody's asking.
Well, I think when from a college perspective, right? Like that's where I'm at now as a college coach. These kids have a lot of structure in their lives, right? They go to study hall, they're working in class, they go to practice, they know what they have to do. It kind of sets you up for pro ball in a better fashion than a high school kid kind of coming from not a whole lot of background. And some of that has changed with the way the guys train now, but there's a lot more structure in that way. And so I think that that is good. But to me, a lot of this comes down to the organizations, right? Mm-hmm. There's organizations that develop certain aspects of players' games better. And a lot of that is on the pitching side. Position player wise, I think that some people are developing things better. I think it's pairing the things together. This is what we believe we're good at drafting, or this is what we believe we're good at developing. So we're going to draft that with the idea that they can help them in that regard. Or maybe they draft the guy that has a weakness and they feel like they can improve it. But I think it's just mirroring those two together, right? Player development and the draft, where knowing your strengths and weaknesses and going from there.
Yeah, I love that. Cody also had another question for you too. You can dive into this however much you want, but he said that did you have a contract pre-draft with scouts, and did they ever ask you kind of with signability throughout the discussion?
It was talked about for sure. And that's talked about for every one of these guys. Everybody wants to have an idea of where you're signed. For me, myself, I didn't want to put a number out there and then be held to that. I just said I want to be paid where my talent is dictated based on the pick. I knew that I was going to be a first rounder. So I was pretty content with that. I think that's how a lot of people play it, is they don't want to put a firm number out there. But almost all of these picks are negotiated right now, right? They have an idea of what they're going to sign for and what it's going to cost to get the player.
Yeah. That's awesome. So we officially got the Guardians on the clock. Devin, what's your prediction here? What do you think the Guardians are going to do?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the kid from Oregon State. It certainly seems like the type of player that Cleveland targets, right? A contact-oriented, really good swing decision type of guy. Left-handed power that plays well to right field, right? So it all makes sense to me.
Yeah. Tyler, what do you got?
I'm still kind of looking at this as our mock is going to blow up immediately in our faces. I think overall it's either one of Bazzana or Wetherholt. Yeah. And it depends on how much money you're saving at one compared to you have two other picks tonight in the top 50 at 36 and 48. Mm-hmm. We talked about this before with the draft strategy coming into mind, and you're going to save a lot more money at number one overall than you are, say, trying to go from round 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and trying to get senior signings and try and save some money that way. And no matter which way, you're still getting really good value at the top in this draft class. Yeah. It is a tough year to be a number one overall pick when the middle infielder is your best bet to kind of really be that first overall pick. But overall, I don't think you can really go wrong with either of these picks. I also do see a Monty Taylor in there, but Gritzberg. You gotta love the Gritzberg moniker that he's been spilling around this entire spring. Shout out to Monty too for being an absolute lad this year. He's been absolutely amazing to be with in person. Had many a times singing Logan Bravo's walk-up song a few times this year. So shout out to Monty and the College Baseball Central crew for what they do and everything like that. Gritzberg is something that's really stuck with me a little bit. Yeah, honestly. And speaking of Gritzberg, Ryan Andrade is a guy that's got some helium to him. You talked about him earlier when we had you on the show back in October, November, Devin. But it really does look like he's going to get drafted here, and I'm really excited to see what kind of happens here.
Yeah, he's going to do well. I think he's going to be a day 2 pick. The stuff is loud. He's progressively gotten better throughout the year. it helped that he threw really well against Florida State when there was a bunch of heat in there. So yeah, no, I'm excited for him and his future, and I'm excited to see where he ends up.
Yeah, it sounds like the pick is in for the Guardians, but they're in a commercial right now.
Of course, yeah.
So it's on Twitter.
It's on Twitter.
I'm trying not to look at it.
Probably.
Twitter's gonna ruin it every time.
It's always on Twitter.
Retweeted it out.
Everything is on Twitter.
But it doesn't. Shocker. It's not Condon or it's not Burns.
It's not Wetherholt apparently. So
there goes their mock. Hell yeah.
Pick one.
Up in flames.
Not official yet, but it's sounding like you can speculate based on what we just said that who it might be. So
maybe something changes in the last minute here. I know there's been a few things in the past where, like, for example, Chase Burns a couple years ago when he was selected by the Dodgers was the biggest rumor beforehand, and all of a sudden Maddox runs.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing I can remember from the past couple years, and that was 21. Yeah, 21. So yeah, I think anything's possible here, but it kind of does feel like we are.
I gotta stop refreshing Twitter.
Yeah, get off Twitter. Get off Twitter.
Yeah,
I've muted my group chat because of this.
I'm already gonna update our sheet here. For those watching, everybody's like, "Well, why don't you just tell us?" Everybody knows at this point. So, but
do I want to though?
No, we're gonna make everybody wait.
Everybody knows what it is. I don't think there's going to be a big announcement for us saying what it is on stream. But yeah, if it's exactly what the tweets say, it's bye mock. But it's also not a shocking pick whatsoever.
No, not at all.
We'll leave it at that, people. Again, speculate away. You probably already see who it is.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think Cleveland does anything wrong here, despite what some Cleveland fans could probably speculate and put out there. But, like, I think this is either which way, it's perfect for them.
Yep, I agree. I mean, I don't think you can complain here. Here it comes. Got Manfred coming out. All righty, here we go. Yep. Getting it prep. And it's Travis Bazzana, Oregon State, second baseman going first. Video here too. If Tyler caught him out at what was the tournament in Texas?
It was just a college baseball showdown.
Yeah,
just kind of like chilling here and having some fun.
Don't watch these Hagen, Schmidt, Bazzana at bats though.
Yeah, people have said this before, but like Bazzana getting abused by Hagen Smith here. You're a left-handed hitter goes against some of the best tunneling stuff at the time. Yeah. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah,
he struck out 17 in 6 innings. Like, you can't really fault the kid for it. Then he didn't have an issue at all the rest of the weekend. No. Almost every single bomb play was over 100 miles an hour. Had a max EV of 112. Hit an absolute hank.
Yeah.
Before the sound and the song ever went down, it was pretty special watching. And we're getting hit. He's in Corvallis too. He did not go to the draft. I think that's the first Aussie he's taken first overall.
Yeah, I don't think there has been one.
I don't think so either. I mean, historic.
Yeah.
Really, at that point, But Bazzana overall, I mentioned it earlier with the potential for, like, how well of an athlete is he at second base? I think that's where he's going to end up being. Could he maybe get tried out at shortstop? Maybe. I'm not going to kind of rule it out whatsoever, but, like, overall, it's a second base profile. I made the comp the other day of like Dustin Pedroia light. Kind of similar body styles, similar styles to play defensively. The bat is just amazing to really go ahead and put it lightly. Like, there's just everything you really like, and he's probably the next big Oregon State guy to come out. Like Stephen Kwan came out of that place a couple years ago. Trevor Larnach with the Twins now. Yeah, real good piece now, but he was a first rounder out of Oregon State. Yeah, it's really, really good. And like the power inside, he can turn and burn on pitches. Covers his own exceptionally well. Big bat speed. Yeah, and the one thing I love about him is his personality, right? I think that's something I look at in a lot of guys. Is this the big home run? No.
It's just like he wants to win and he loves the game, right? And I think that's something you look at too. He's like the personality is off the charts on top of the skills and the tool set. So excited to see this for the Guardians. Awesome first pick. Devin, do you have any thoughts here?
No, good, solid player, right? Like this feels like you're definitely getting yourself a really good big leaguer.
Yeah,
I agree. It seems like a good pick. The kid seems great. It seems like he's going to do everything he can to get whatever he can out of his ability.
Yeah. So the Reds are on the clock and the pick is in. Devin, this is your team. What do you think they might be doing here?
I don't know. I haven't asked. I think it's Condon, but I don't know for sure. It's my guess would be either him or Caglianone.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're very similar without the chase of Caglianone. So Condon seems like he would be the right pick. They don't really have a whole lot of reason to mess around with the money because they don't pick till later, like 51 or something like that. So, yeah, just kind of play it straight and take the guy whoever's best on your board.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good move, and I think the position flexibility of being a corner, outfielder, third baseman, I think they like that as well.
Especially since it's better than being the first base prospect that we thought he was going to be coming into the year.
Yeah.
The athleticism really ticked up this year. I don't want to say he necessarily puts anything out spectacular at third base or anything.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it's probably more of just like a fringe average, maybe average at best kind of player in that position. And I think honestly, you might get more run in the corner outfield position than third base. But, I think at that point, you're just happy to have the bat in the lineup. That's if you guys saw what he did this year, freaking broke the BB Corbett record in the second or third week of May.
Yeah.
That was set last year, by the way.
Which is absolutely nuts.
And it was set in Omaha.
Yeah.
just absolutely ridiculous to really kind of think about.
Yeah. We'll see what we got here. I love how they hold these, make them go longer.
Yeah.
What's that?
I must be ahead of you guys.
It might be.
They didn't take either of the guys I said.
They didn't go the guy you said?
Neither of them.
What? Who we got here?
Oh, boy.
Chase Burns. Wow.
I thought we weren't going to do this.
Burns.
Get off Twitter, please.
Well, I uploaded the wrong video there. Wow, you talked a little bit about it. You guys didn't get to face Chase Burns, but I know he was in the ACC. Big right now.
I've seen some of them for sure. It's like the Tyler Glasnow kind of approach, right? Like really, really loud stuff. Fastballs at the top of the zone, really good downer, breaking ball, good slider. There's some effort there, but it's a big, strong dude that looks like he really loves to compete. Like it's a real guy for sure. Obviously, they feel really good about projecting him here, and the second overall pick, you think you're going to get a top of the rotation starter, which he has the stuff to do it for sure.
Yeah, I saw Burns against Virginia, which, as you know, is one of the best lineups in the country, and he struck out, I think, 13, 14 batters in that over 7 innings. It was just absolutely filthy. His slider was just absolutely diabolical. I think you've used that word to describe it in your write-ups. It's just insane.
multiple times. Like, just thinking about, he had 30 whiffs against UNC in ACC tournament play.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, that UNC lineup made it to Omaha. It was one of the best teams in the country the entire year.
Yeah.
That is like Vance Honeycutt at the top. You get Casey Cook immediately after, and you have Parks Harbor, a few other guys like D'Onofrio who could really hit cleanup and has some really good traits to have.
Yeah.
Even if he is going to be 24 for the draft. It is just.
It's filth.
Yeah.
No, it's just power. Like, this is loud stuff.
Yeah. It's like. Sorry, what was that?
Pretty good. Just power stuff.
Yeah. There was a Henry God but getting lucky and hitting a home run.
Another thing I kind of realized too, this is the second year in a row with a Wake Forest pitcher. Are we looking at like a Cincinnati Reds Wake Forest pipeline here?
We could be.
They still have Stuart Fairchild, I think, right?
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
I think he was a Wake guy. I know Gavin Sheets was. He's not anywhere with the Reds, but
yeah.
Pretty sure Stuart Fairchild was definitely one of them. So, I wonder how excited Rhett is.
Rhett's gotta be absolutely. Well, he didn't play with him, did he?
No, he didn't play with him.
Yeah.
But like,
get another Wake guy in town.
I think that's pretty solid. So, the hell do the Rockies do at 3?
I think that's already been announced. The pick is in. I think we can kind of figure out who this one is.
I'm still not looking at my phone. Get off Twitter.
I know.
Stop doing this.
Yeah, we've got a sense of who it is now at this point.
I wouldn't be shocked if it's.
It is who you think it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, that tracks. Yeah.
Yeah. It is that man, Charlie Condon. It's going to the Colorado Rockies by the sounds. I think you're ahead of us, Devin. Has that one already been announced?
No,
No?
not yet. No,
You're jumping the gun, Jared.
Jumping the gun over here.
it said the pick is in. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm watching the beautiful Lance Brodzowski on my screen right now, though, and let me tell you, very, very cool guy.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, we have a per source here saying what the Rockies pick is.
Yeah, shocker.
So, yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting one. If it is Charlie Condon, then that power is going to play in Colorado.
Yeah, and we noted this as being like the potential floor for Condon too. You know, I don't think there was ever a thought that he would get outside the top 3 picks. The thing with Condon that we mentioned it earlier, just the sliders and spin kind of do give him some fits, but you talk about that power, 70 raw. Maybe you may even have somebody that puts an 8 on it, in my opinion. But the feel of the hit and the defensive versatility now, it's gone from like a guy that could be like a mid first round bat if everything goes well to now he just put together probably the best college baseball season in recent memory.
Yep. Yeah.
So
it's the video that we had shown you earlier is the record breaking home run.
Yes,
for the
yes, it
BB4
is.
bat. So hopefully we didn't jump the gun too much here. But I have a feeling that's what it's going to be based on all the sources that are coming in. So
It's being announced now on my team.
Okay.
You got that like 10-second advantage on us.
I don't know. Him and Core should be pretty interesting.
Yeah. I love that play. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting.
That concourse in left field is going to get abused.
Yeah.
I'm talking like CJ Crone abused.
Yeah. And Manfred's in here for the selection. This is interesting because what do the
outfielder?
Oh, they listed him as an
outfielder.
Interesting. Now
that's not shocking to me.
No, I think he's a left fielder. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like I think that's where he ultimately ends up in the big leagues. It's a big dude.
Yeah.
He's
awesome.
like 6'6", 215, 220.
Yeah.
Like very lean. And I've had scouts tell me it's like to be a left fielder, you still have to mash.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly what Condon does, like to a T. So
yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah, I mean the bat is so polished, also, right? Like, for him to be a big league third baseman, it's just gonna take away time. Just get him there and let him go hit, and I think that's the right play.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is now: Oakland goes, what the hell?
Do they go? What do you think they would? Is that enough underslot for them?
Assuming that they were going to take whoever wouldn't go at 1, I think that's probably the play here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's the best play.
I don't think they're going to shock us and take a prep. No?
No.
I can't see that at all. Especially when they just took Jake Wilson last year, and he's fast riser. They might want.
Yeah, no. I think JJ is probably the best pick. Maybe you go Cags. Personally, like I wouldn't be shocked if that's a possibility, but they already do have a few first base types on that team as it is.
Yeah.
I just don't know if you can really find a perfect fit there.
The
It'll also be nice to see JJ walk up with his Texas cowboy hat and in his boots. Like, he's got a cool fit going tonight, man.
Yeah. I mean, for Oakland, all the picks went in quick. This is the first one that's kind of stayed on the clock longer than the other ones, it feels like.
Can you just close Twitter, please? So that way I don't have to, like, keep looking over and seeing, like, the name pop up. Because for those at home, I'm just going to be upfront and honest with people. We're not obviously the greatest connected in the industry.
Yeah.
It's not my job to go out and try and break these picks. It's not Jerry's job either. So we're just here to really enjoy, give our insight, kind of go from there. If there's a chance we do get something tonight, cool, that happens. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know what's going on. Like that's not my thing. It's not my approach to this kind of thing. And personally, like, I'd rather be wrong.
Yeah.
I'd rather be wrong. That's the thing with scouting. Like, you have to adjust yourself to being wrong 99% of the time.
Yeah.
And like, even with our stuff, like the 2025 top 30 college outfielders could be widely different than what it is that we had from a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, you put that board out knowing that you're probably going to be wrong, and you have to accept it. That's the best thing you can really do there.
Yeah.
I will say though, our next available is Cags on this list.
Yeah.
He's 4, Wetherholt 5. Kind of waiting and seeing what we have. Your pick is in.
Yeah.
And you closed Twitter. I thank you for doing that, sir.
It's still open.
No, you close it. Don't go. No.
Well, it feels like there's a lot of guys here that it's kind of nothing's, pick whoever you feel the most convicted about, right? Like this comes down to just what you like and who you like. And they all seem to be right in the same group.
Yeah. I see fans all the time upset with like who their team picks, but there's so much that goes into like actually making that final decision.
I like how we have an Oakland fan, a Rangers fan, and a Kikuchi jersey just like dancing,
hanging out
in the middle of Cowtown Coliseum. That's pretty cool, actually.
Do this too whenever the Steelers pick, but they know what they're doing a whole lot more than what I do, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you just got to trust them. Like they obviously put a ton of hours, a ton of time. Like the amount of work and effort that goes into these picks is just enormous. Like, so if you're sitting at home and you're like, man, we should have took this guy. Yeah, just trust that they put in all the effort and did the process the right way. That they know what they're doing.
There's a lot of unknowns, no matter how much work you put into it, too, right?
Yeah,
like, guys all develop differently. So we got Travis Bazzana, Chase Burns, Charlie Condon off the board. As Tyler said, we got Jack Cags as number 4, JJ Wetherholt as number 5, Hagen Schmidt as number 6. So they got Rob Manfred coming out here, about to find out who the Oakland A's took. Let's see what we got. Let's see here.
Don't get off Twitter.
Gotta try to find out.
Nick Kurtz.
First baseman out of Wake Forest. Wow. This is getting interesting now. You got to be happy if you're the White Sox and the Royals. I will say that. We'll get this video going here.
Mock draft is in shambles.
You saw Kurtz a ton, Tyler. I know, Devin, you said you faced them a couple of years ago. Tyler, what are your thoughts on Kurtz here?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with Kurtz is the approach. It's very polished, tons of walks, even if you want to consider him passive a little bit. And that's kind of my thing where, like, he might be a bit, unless there's, like, a really big change in the approach, he might be too passive.
Yeah.
Where he might be 0-2 more often than you would like to see because he's kind of watching the first couple pitches. That said, he puts up a ton of fight to stay off the strikeouts, walks a ton. He's a lot more nimble too than a guy that's 6'6", 240 as he's listed. Actually a decent runner, and he moves around first base pretty well. And the power and the pure hit tool are pretty impressive for a guy with long limbs, and he can repeat everything pretty well. The biggest thing that kind of showed up to me this year was the difference between him being hurt and then just coming back from injury and just tattooing everything.
Yeah.
And another thing too was he looked a lot better at first base defensively, and like first base is not a defensive first position. It never is. So like I'm not gonna be the person to say he's a plus defender at first base, like some people have touted him in the past. I think at the end of the day, you're looking at a guy that can be serviceable defensively at the position, maybe average, maybe even above average if you want to go that far. He's made some really tough plays. Yeah. I remember that UNC game in the ACC tournament was ball kind of came in awkwardly from left field and then the runner's going for a triple. Just bare hands it sideways, left arm, like kind of Patrick Mahomes it across the infield to third base on a line and just throws out the runner. It's really impressive.
Yeah.
So
I like the pick. I mean, like you said, really polished bat. I see some people in the chat going, very Oakland way to do that. They're going to for sure sign him under slot, free up money for their next pick.
Which, 100%.
Yeah, he's tender overall on our board. But still, you got to be happy with Nick Kurtz coming to Oakland. Devin, I want to get your insights on him because I know you mentioned facing him a little bit ago.
Yeah, he's a monster dude with like a short path to the ball, right? Like anytime you see a big guy with a short swing, it just makes them have a really good approach. The power is real. He hit one of the furthest balls I've ever seen against us that cleared a couple roads and big hill. Like it was insane. But yeah, he's a PA kid too, so I like that. But this is a good pick. Kurtz is going to be he's going to really hit.
Yeah, I think it's hard to find a guy with his kind of power and that type of hit tool, right? I think that's why Jack Kaggs gets knocked a lot is because he doesn't have anywhere close to that hit tool. And you got a guy with a 60 grade hit and 70 grade power, basically. It's nuts.
I wonder what the park dimensions will be in Vegas.
What's that?
How that ballpark in Las Vegas will play, right? That's where
we're playing in
his career. That's that's high altitude. That'll be interesting. Yeah.
And you think about it too. If he's up in the next 2 years because he's a quick riser, he might actually be playing in Sacramento. So.
Oh God, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, Sacramento.
Going from the valley to Vegas in the mountains is pretty interesting.
Yeah. We're on pick 5 now. It sounds like the pick is in. MLB Network's in their little commercial break here.
I see your Twitter tab still open. Please close it.
It's not open.
Yes, I see it on there. It's next to the StreamYard thing, dude.
What do you think the White Sox do here, though? That's the question.
Wetherholt.
JJ's falling that far. I wanted prep from what I heard.
Yeah, I know Caglianone has visited with White Sox brass.
Yeah.
That is a thing that has happened. There's physical evidence on Twitter of it happening.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those two, I feel like.
Yeah.
Unless they throw a legit curveball that I'm not ready for. William Schmidt curveball, dare I say.
Yeah.
I'm just as clueless as everybody else here.
Yeah.
And if it is Jack, can we please have it right for a mock, please?
Do you want me? What?
I want it right.
Are you over thus far? Are you over?
Yeah, we're over.
Yeah, we have not gotten one right.
It's in flames right now.
We should go back to mock 2.0 and see if we got anyone right there.
You missed this one too, I bet you.
I love the optimism. I really do.
I think he's telling you he missed it because he might know who it is already.
I do. Yeah, I no, my TV's ahead. I don't understand.
So we missed this pick as well.
That's great. I love that.
They took Hagen Smith, left-handed pitcher out of Arkansas. Wow. Shambles. This is leaving a lot of guys on the board for the Royals here at 6.
Yeah, bye Brett Trainer.
I am quite happy. Let's see. We got the nasty 17 strikeout game. A Hagen Smith will pull up here for everybody to watch. Absolutely absurd stuff. You got to be happy if you're a White Sox fan. That is a disgusting pitcher.
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, you kind of look at the changes he made to his arsenal and his body himself.
Mm-hmm.
He got bigger. He got stronger. You kind of look at it. He's already – but deceptive as it is with that arm action, he hides the ball really well. That right there, I can tell you for a fact right now, nobody's seeing that until it comes out there, and it's tonal with everything. This starts particular, you can already see the velo down there. Topped out 99 early in the outing. Bazzana looked really bad right there because that's just how good he was. That
yeah.
You know, struck out the first, I think it was 15. The only ball in play that was recorded as an out was an impressive play at second base at Peyton Holt, but the fastball is underrated for me.
Yeah.
Very flat, very low approach angle, very low release as well for a guy that's, I think he's like 6'3", 6'4". Really does hop a little bit too as well from that low slot, which really helps. He's missed faster to 42% clip this year. And I don't think people understood like how good that was, because Chase Burns had something close to like 38, 39%.
Yeah.
So in terms of pure whiffs, it performed better than what Chase Burns had, who went number 2. With Hagen, that slider is just really deceptive, really gets on the guys quickly and just darts away from your bat at the last second. You have no idea what to do with it if it's tunneled. There's also a changeup in there that he doesn't use much, but it does have good shape. It has good feel. If he can throw it more, I think he'll stave off more of the reliever stuff. But the delivery got a lot better this year.
Yeah.
The delivery really did. There's not as much recoil. He's more in control of his body. There's more strikes in there. Like this outing alone, he had, I think it was 59 strikes and 78 pitches.
That's nuts.
In 6 innings, by the way, mind you. Striking out 17 in 6 innings is incredible. Backflowing the slider like you did just there. I don't have enough words to really describe how good that outing was.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of intriguing to see the White Sox go this route, right? I think we heard a lot, prep iron. He's a guy who could potentially rise quickly to the big leagues. You think about the White Sox timeline, I don't think they're a quick turnaround team, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out and see what they can do. Yeah. Devin, do you have any thoughts on this one?
This is today's starting pitcher, right? Just power stuff coming right after you, a bunch of swing and miss. These 2 wipeout pitches. So he checks the boxes of the guys that they're after. Go get the swing and miss.
Wow. We got potential rumors of what the Royals pick is. Sounds like they might. I don't even want to announce it to jinx it.
Do I want to make a joke and look in the background here at the Travis Bazzana interview? Is that William Schmidt in the back right? Does that look like him? Am I the only one that sees that?
It's not like him.
William Schmidt hanging out at Travis Bazzana's viewing party.
Don't wait to tell Keith Law.
No. If the rumors are true of what the Royals did, I'm not even. No way.
Uh-oh.
We might hate everything.
Did you guys get whiskey?
We didn't take it to the store.
Oh man!
Now? So this is a specific player that we have here for Jared. He said he would walk off stream and not show back up.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. The pick's in. I don't want to lose my coworker here. So like,
this is going to be interesting if that is true. We don't know. That was tweeted out. I haven't seen anybody confirm it. Let's see. They are two. It sounds like it is true.
Guys, whiskey. Get the Chardonnay. Get the Chardonnay.
Wow. You can handle this one yourself then.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm.
You get the full bottle.
Two-way player. They took him as a two-way player.
Oh, what a time.
I know the viewers here are probably going to have no idea what's going on. We'll explain it here in a couple seconds when everything's announced.
So Jeff Passan is saying that they're selecting Jack Caglianone with the 6th pick in the MLB draft. He will be announced as a two-way player, but it's an expectation he's going to hit only.
That's smart.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So Royals take Caglianone. Kind of shocked that was the route they were going to go. There was a lot of smoke around Hagen Smith. Maybe they were all in on Hagen Smith. There was talks about Bryce Rainer or a prep guy like Conor Griffin. Jack Hags is a first base, basically only type prospect. They got Vinny Pasquantino at first. I don't know if they feel like that makes him a tradable piece that they can get something in the future with. But interesting to see the Royals go this route. Tyler, do you have thoughts before I dive into more?
So you mentioned Pasquantino as being like a first base type.
Yeah.
And this is what Cags is. He's basically a first baseman and has been for a few years at Florida.
Yeah.
But I've heard some rumors that teams do kind of like him in the outfield a little bit, and we might actually see that happen here with Cags. I wouldn't be shocked at all. Going hitter only is probably the best way to do this. He didn't really develop as an arm like we thought he was going to this year after a loud spring, or like allowed early starts in the spring and a loud fall too, is what I meant to say. The bat really turned a corner this year. The bat, the ball got exceptionally better. He started walking more, kept the strikeouts at bay. Still chases a bit too much for my liking, but the power is ridiculous. There is an incredible stat I found earlier today, too. He had 35 home runs at Florida this year to 8 doubles and 0 triples.
Yeah.
So kind of worried about how that kind of works for him, but obviously, like, with the way the ball was in college this year, like, everything was going out.
And I will say this: the one team that has been good at developing hitters, especially with some concerns on the hit tool, is the Royals.
Yep.
And they have a good hitting development farm system. And Cags wasn't supposed to make it to 1-6. So you have to imagine the Royals feel pretty good about this pick, regardless of like some of the concerns about first base only profile. It's a massive, immense athlete. So, yeah, interesting.
I still don't like that we're not going to have a pick. I'm going to mock it all now.
Maybe you get this one. This one, what do you have here?
Hagen. We had Hagen.
Yeah.
So we're kind of.
We got Wetherholt still on the board.
Wetherholt's still available. The 2 prep bats, Griffin and Rainer, are still available.
Yeah.
I think we definitely had thoughts about putting Rainer at the Cardinals last night, and now I kind of wish we did, because if that's the pick and we don't get it,
who do we put there?
Hagen.
Yeah.
If the Angels is the only pick we get right in the top 10.
Wow, this is intriguing. I did not expect any of this. So the best available we got right now: JJ Wetherholt, second base shortstop out of West Virginia; Braden Montgomery, outfielder out of Texas A&M; Conor Griffin, outfield shortstop.
Outfield and shortstop. I know I have right-handed pitcher on there.
Yeah,
because he has some intrigue as a pitcher, but he's definitely not going to be an arm. The pick is also in, by the way.
Yep.
So my thought process right now. Talk about the Angels and going fast-moving college guys. Does St. Louis skip on Wetherholt here at 7, take one of the prep bats, and then get Wetherholt at 8, because that just fits the Angels perfectly?
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm going to stay until Wetherholt gets picked. That's my guy.
Okay.
Cool. I like that. Watch it drop all the way to 15, and we're just like...
You're here for 3 hours.
Your plans have been screwed the rest of the night.
Yeah. Our Cardinals, if they go Wetherholt, I wonder if the injury concerns are bigger than we thought. Like, we don't know the medicals behind anything with Wetherholt, but I know the injuries during the year, the hamstrings were concerns, but I expected him to be gone at this point.
If it's a chronic issue, then I can definitely see why teams are a little worried. Because hamstrings are nothing to mess around with whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like that, those are some of the more tougher. It's like one of the toughest injuries to really come back from in terms of like a muscle strain or anything like that. Like, what's the side muscle here? Not labrum. Oblique. That's what it is. Oblique's really back for a hitter. Hamstring really does hamper your running ability pretty bad.
Yeah.
You like tight ends at the NFL level have struggles.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Cardinals pick is in.
They weren't concerned about the hamstring.
They were not. JJ Wetherholt is a St. Louis Cardinal.
And he's picked as a shortstop.
And he is dressed out for Texas.
He's got the West Virginia logo on the inside of his jacket, by the way. That actually goes kind of hard.
Yeah, that's cool.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you can't fault the performance. Like, when he was healthy, man, he was the best.
Dude, even when he wasn't healthy, like he had hamstring issues on the collegiate national team last year. He was still hitting tanks out on the regular basis.
Yep.
Like he got center fastball from Matt Auger that he took halfway up the trees in right field at one of the backfields. And we talk about the USA complex, like that's something I know pretty well. It is extremely hard to hit a ball out at that complex, at any of the fields. Coleman Field especially is one particularly tough spot. But the backfields, man, nothing flies out.
No.
And to have him effortlessly go halfway up the trees like that, really impressive. And he even did it at the DBAP too. And he was all doing this on one leg.
Good for him. He's
so
impressive.
Like, and my thing too is like we mentioned him being drafted as a shortstop. I think that's the best. He has the best shot of any of the middle infielders on the college side at the top to stay at the 6.
Yeah.
He has shown good range. The arm's pretty good. He's looked a lot better since he's came back from the injury. He doesn't look like a surefire second baseman anymore. He played third base his first year. He went to second base last year, and now was the key hitter at the 6 this year. Still exceptional bat, really good power that I think some people even undervalue a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it might be a plus hit tool with like above average power at the next level. I don't think as a Cardinals fan, I think you're giddy about this.
Yes, 100%. Devin, I want to get your thoughts too, just before you take off, because you faced him a ton in the ACC.
No, JJ is as good a bat to ball as I've seen from any amateur player, right? Like, he doesn't swing and miss. He's always on the barrel, hits everything hard. There's more power there than you would think based on the frame, right? Like, he's not a big, massive dude, but he can launch some balls. Yeah, he's a really, really good, talented player. You know, I saw him last year when he was running, and it was twitchy, super athletic, running around, playing really good defense. It feels like a Cardinal in the sense that, like, he does a lot of the things well, right? Like, there's just nothing, no part of his game that is not good. Like, he just is really, really solid at everything. And yeah, he's a stud. I think that he's going to do very well. That feels like a really good fit organizationally. They've always valued bat to ball. And yeah, that's JJ. He's as good as anybody. It's a good park to hit in where you can spray the ball around. He'll do very well with that. So yeah, that feels like a really good fit for sure.
Yeah, I think St. Louis is a good place too for him. Devin, we can't thank you enough for joining us. I know you're busy, taking time out of your night just to give your perspective, just because you have so many different ones that are awesome to hear from. So thank you for joining us on the stream. We'll definitely have to have you back on sometime.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you again, and we'll be back next year for sure.
Yeah,
sounds
absolutely.
Good.
I'll see you in the ACC next year. I will see you. We'll make it happen.
All right, let's do it.
Have a good one, Devin. Thanks again.
All right, see you guys.
See you. Have a good night, man.
All right, that was Devin Mesoraco. Awesome that he could join us, give us the player perspective, give us the coach perspective, give us the draft room perspective. Just too cool to have him in, talk about some of the picks. So, yeah, we got more guests coming. It's not over. We got more people coming in to join the stream. We're on the Angels now. This is the one we could not figure out last night in the mock.
If this is the one we get in the top 10, I'm going to be so happy for no reason. That's at all. Because really, when we talked about it last night, it was like a 15-minute session where we were just like, what do we do here? Like, we flip-flopped on Hagen and Bryce at 6-7 a couple times. And then we looked at the Angels and we're like, what do we do?
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, we're not the most connected people in the industry. I think we know that on hand. Like, I heard, is that Charlie Bielenson?
What's that?
When is Charlie? Yep, that's a Monty question. I knew it. Charlie Bielenson is going to be the 8th overall pick, Monty. I just hope you know that. You can tell Aaron, and I'll get him on the phone. We can make something work out here. But yeah, either which way, it took forever for us to figure out who we thought the Angels could take here. Christian Moore underslot was definitely the one we ended up going with. And I mentioned it earlier. Angels like to go save some money, go college heavy first, and then try and get like some sort of prep arm they highly value at, 6th, 7th, 8th round.
Yeah.
Caden Dana, example, $1.5 million in the 11th round 2 years ago. Saw him pitch yesterday.
Yeah.
Looked pretty good. His only inning of work, honestly. Up to 95, a good slider, cutter, kind of like hybrid a little bit. And then Barrett Kent, obviously, last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, depending on what happens here, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, our guy Brian Recca says got to be Braden. I think it's Braden or Christian Moore. I think those are the two.
And my question is, considering the fact that these guys absolutely love going to fast track everything, Braden being injured, we'll fast track him.
Yeah. Let's just say Angels identify talent well for the draft. They struggle with development.
That's a very good way of putting it.
Good point by Cody.
That's a very good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Is our TV frozen, by the way?
Oh, yeah. Well, let's see here. Make sure we don't turn off the...
I do see the note on Tibbs. I think I'm just going to bite it in the butt right now. Tibbs's platoon splits are not great.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why he dropped to 21 on the Twins for a mock today. Is because we do fully believe that could actually happen. I think platoon splits is pretty... You look at Dylan Dreiling, he had issues with lefties coming into the year, and then he started hitting 600 against lefties this year. It was something insane. With Tibbs, he doesn't hit lefties very well at all. Most of the production came from the right side of the plate this year, something like 25 home runs. It was 28 from that side. He hit like 440. Only hit like 245, 250 from the left side against lefties.
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried about that.
We're right. We got our first pick right. MLB Draft has announced Christian Moore is going to the Angels.
What the?
We got one.
Oh,
we are
my God.
Finally right. It only took to pick, 8?
Yeah, we're on the board. That's all that matters.
We are on the board. Christian Moore, Tennessee, second base shortstop. We got Drew Wheeler, who's in the background here. Big Tennessee guy. How are you feeling?
Boys, can I get a GBO in the chat?
There we go. Oh, man.
We finally got one. And it's the one way we could not figure out. So
I'm just so happy about that. If this is the only one we get tonight, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I just hope you guys know that.
Yeah.
I really hope you do.
What a time.
I had to consult with the Chardonnay and some coffee last night to figure out this pick. I'm glad that worked. Oh, man.
Gotta love it. So we got to talk about the Christian Moore, College World Series experience. Absolutely insane.
Drew
Wheeler is going to join us.
He wants to join us.
He's going to join us to talk about. We got Drew Wheeler on our fantasy squad joining us on the pod.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Hope the production work has been okay thus far. Greg, you're doing a fabulous
Crushing
job
it.
over there. Yeah. Second cycle in the history of Omaha. An insane power bat. You guys, I don't have to tell you. You told me, as a matter of fact, gave me the sickening statistics, the exit velos, the 90th percentile at over 110, the max at 117. Say what you want about SEMO. I'm going to go with GBO and I guess rep the halo.
Yeah. Love it.
I mean,
you got to buy a jersey.
I do have to buy a jersey. I think I'm going to have an Angels Christian Moore jersey.
Here's what you need to do with Smata. You guys need, because he's the Angels fan in our site.
Yeah.
Get matching SEMO jerseys.
I'm down. Smata, say the word. Just from a fantasy perspective, Greg, I'm curious your opinion too. But I mean, this is a guy that's peripheral top 10 in any FYPD right now. From a fantasy perspective, you're looking at a guy that's going to be an offensive boon. The average might suffer. Let's just be honest. I think that he's got a little bit of a swing and miss issue, as many power-centric guys do. But I'm very excited. I think the Angels have got an outright stud. And I would absolutely love it if the chat right now, if we could just get hashtag GBO. Like, can I fill the chat with GBO? Can we get that on the chat here, please?
Only goal for Drew at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'd really appreciate it, chat, if you could help me out with hashtag GBOs up and down the screen.
Very excited guy over here.
Thank you very much. I am excited. I've got to go get the post to Twitter. Thank you very much for having me. Hopefully we'll be back later on with you guys. Y'all are killing it. Do you need more wine?
He doesn't have the wine.
Has Cags settled
I've
yet?
settled with Cags. Happy about it. Think it's exciting.
He's going to hit a lot of balls into some fountains, baby.
Oh, yeah. It might be a new ballpark at that point.
Oh, that's true.
But there will be fountains in the new ballpark. At least that's what they're hoping for.
Yeah. So kind of going analysis too, more on SEMO as well. Like,
please feel
I
free.
think he's a second baseman at the next level. But there, like Patrick Bauer, who I had the pleasure of playing a 9-hole round of golf with today. First off, follow him at PBauer26. He's an amazing guy.
Yeah, great stuff.
like he thought whenever he saw SEMO earlier in the year, that could be like a potential. Maybe you can put him at shortstop in a pinch kind of deal.
Yeah.
And I think that could happen. Like you maybe start him at shortstop, move him to second base, but I think with him being drafted as a second baseman, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah.
But who knows? Pirates are also selecting right now.
Yeah, we're having some issues with Sling, so we're somewhat getting to the picks a little bit later here. Conor Griffin. We were close on this one. Did we get this one?
We had Kurtz on it.
We had Kurtz.
But we mentioned Griffin being in there.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
So yeah, I think the biggest thing with Conor Griffin is he's now having him go at 9 is I think the lowest the prep bat has ever been taken in the draft.
In a while.
Yeah.
In a very long time.
Because you think about what it was a couple years ago in 2020 when Nick 21 when Nick Lodolo was that 2019 or 2020? I can't remember. 19? Okay. I know it was one of the years in that time frame, but like Lodolo was the 8th overall pick that year, and he was the lowest college player to be taken in their draft era at that point. I think with this one, Conor Griffin's the lowest pick for the first high school guy ever.
Yeah.
And I could be mistaken on that one. I think Derek Jeter was like 8th overall in 91 or something.
That's crazy.
That was probably the last one I can think of where like just name dropping it. Like that was the lowest I've ever seen somebody go as a prep guy.
Yeah.
But I think overall for him, like there's obviously questions last year with the hit tool on the summer circuit. Like he was injured, he had struggles, he had a wrist injury, he played through all summer last year. But like this year the hit tool really it went back to what it was before.
Yeah.
Like very polished, really good bat. I think the power is going to be plus at some point. He put on an electric BP at PDP last year on the backfields. By the way, mind you, we talked about this earlier. He can play either shortstop or right field, I think. I think he's either above average or plus runner, has a strong arm, has the defensive shots to really stick well in right field. I really do like this pick for Pittsburgh. And like what Pittsburgh's done recently too has been pretty impressive. Like their pitching development's turned into a machine lately with Paul Scenes coming up. Jared Jones had a really good start to the year. But their bats have been pretty impressive too. Yeah. Obviously Termarr had a slow start to the year, but he's
picked it up.
He's picked it up. He's looked better. And there's no real rush to contend. I do like this pick.
Yeah, I think it's a great pick for the Pirates. Yeah, like you said, no rush to contend. They got the Jared Jones, Paul Scenes mix in the rotation. This is a guy who's going to take a couple of years, but like could really pan out. The tools and athleticism are just absolutely insane. We do have a Christian Moore question I think we should get to that was in the chat. It says, do you all see a scenario where Moore gets to the show by the end of the season?
It's the Angels. My answer.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
Yeah. He's there. Buy his plane ticket right now for September.
Yeah. You might not have a chance to go watch him play in the playoffs this year, but like,
yeah,
buy that ticket now. You might be able to see him like September 15th or 16th.
Yeah.
Bias says yes and excitement. Logic says no. But we are talking about the Angels, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, we are.
Yes, we are.
There.
We are.
Producer Drew with the great insight here over here. I love it. I love it.
We keep having sling freeze on us, so we're not getting the picks going in real time here.
I like that there's 2,000 people watching this.
We have
2050.
We do not have the 10th pick yet, and so I think it's time to add another guest. Do you think it's time to add another guest?
I think first off, let me just say I appreciate everybody that's here watching this, and it's really, really fun to have everybody in here. We have busted our tails this year.
Yeah, and it's cool to see everybody.
It was a rough end to our cycle last year. We have finally got us full cycle to kind of do everything ourselves, and I feel like we've done a fantastic job. Yeah, and that's just for everybody to chat in the mix for us, like Brian Recca, Brian Switzer, Will Heffer, Jake Bargery. You're looking at Patrick Bauer as well. There's a few others I'm even forgetting the name right off the rip too. Everybody's done such a fantastic job. Like Perry Nadrew, who came in earlier this spring, has done a fantastic job on the summer circuit. Yeah, you're clapping over here. I don't know if I like that.
I saw the next pick and I'm excited about it.
You're back on Twitter. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody that's here.
We got Monty Taylor. He's yelling your name. Monty Taylor is yelling your name.
Monty.
He knows what it is. That's why I'm excited. He's probably excited for the same reason.
Oh.
Do you know who it is? Has it been announced?
It has to be an ACC pick at this point, then.
Yep. It is. You are correct. It is an ACC pick. Let's bring our guest in for this next pick. We got. Nope. Messed it up there. We got Jason Ratcliffe from 64 Analytics. Jason, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Excited to watch another draft tonight and feel woefully inadequate after your previous guest. So hopefully you can keep the good vibes going. It seemed lovely with the previous individual. You just had the Tennessee fan. The vibes were immaculate for that individual. So excited to be on with y'all.
Thanks very much.
They said there he is, Portal God. That's what Rekka just said.
He is Portal God.
Yeah, he is.
Can we rename that to you in the stream here?
Portal
God.
That and I'm trying to balance creating all of these images for Twitter. So that it's nice that the previous pick before Seaver was a high school kid because that gave me a little bit of a break.
Yeah. Try to turn it up a little bit there.
Jared.
What's that?
What?
What is going on? Turn up the volume, man, so we can hear him.
No. I'm talking about the pick.
About us getting it wrong?
No. He's being picked at 10.
Yeah. Did we get it right?
No, I had Seaver King at 16.
Oh, well. All right. We're going to try to get the King video file up here. We've both seen Seaver King, but Tyler, you got to give us some of your thoughts on him.
I was on record when talking to Evan Petzel with the Detroit Free Press the other day, saying he is probably the best athlete in this entire draft.
Agreed.
I think in this example, you look at it, he's getting back foot sliders. I think this is the exact at bat you're going to see it. Really struggled in the early part of this at bat, gets a fastball, like eye level lefty batter's box, turns on it for a double at 105, 106 to that Gene Hooks field sign over there in left center. I think this is the pitch right here.
Oh.
Yeah. Really easy bat speed. He's aggressive. There's a lot to kind of fix with the approach there, but the pure hit tool itself is lacking, but the power is insane.
Yeah.
He's hit legitimate line drives at 112 off the bat that got out in a hurry. And he's been asked to play shortstop in a pinch. He's been asked to play third base in a pinch. He's been asked to play center field in a pinch for Tom Walter's club. And I think he profiles best as a shortstop or center fielder with the kind of speed that he has and the kind of arm strength that he actually has now, too. That's a really impressive athlete in general. And I just, coming from D2 to now your top 10 pick is really, really special.
Yeah. And I think for me, when I saw him play against Virginia, he just struggled at the plate, right? He wasn't timing things very well. But man, he was trying to make things happen even when he wasn't at his best. He would be laying down bunts, would bunt for a single, find ways to be aggressive on the base pass and really just make things happen. And that's what really impressed me about the kid is he knew that, okay, I'm not feeling it right now. I'm in a slump, but he was trying to help his team win games. And I think that's what the Nationals should be really excited about too.
Absolutely. And he kind of fits that Yohani Morales role a little bit with the aggressiveness. Because Morales was pretty aggressive, admittedly. I think King's on the same kind of tier of aggressiveness, if not maybe a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah.
But the power's there. You have some more loft to that swing. I think he's going to be a legitimate offensive threat with just absolutely good tools across the board.
Yeah. Jay Lust 37 said Seaver King next. Call me crazy. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Good for him.
Good job, Jay. I like
it. We're doing a great job. So also thank you. Thank you for the ego boost.
What's an ego?
Yeah. Gotta love it.
I think you're also seeing why the Demon Deacons were so highly thought of entering the season. I mean, that's 3 picks in the top 10 and 2 of them from the portal. So it's pretty unique to see 3 individuals from one team in the top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a team too that kind of didn't live up to expectations to start the year either.
No.
They really struggled out the gate, and they went 2 in barbecue in Greenville.
Yeah.
Which sucks because I think Chase Burns himself would have been the first ACC pitcher to have 200 strikeouts in the season since
about
90s.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know the specifics on that. I'm just spitballing at that point, but it's been a really long time since a 200 strikeout pitcher came from the ACC.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's wild. Wake Forest, for as much talent they had, like you mentioned the struggles, but they found a way to pull it together and made a good run. The lineup just wasn't the same as it was last year, right? When you had Brock Wilkin and a few other guys in there really helping round out that lineup. Kurtz was kind of by himself, had some struggles, then had an injury, then came back and just absolutely lit the world on fire. But they just kind of didn't have that full balance like they did last year, but they were still a really impressive team.
And I think it comes down to everybody on that team had a career year last year.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to really put it. Like Bennett Lee not having a catcher back there this year kind of did hamper that pitching staff a little bit. Bennett Lee was a lot bigger glue guy than we thought he would.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge part of this.
We got the Tigers pick coming on in.
Please let it be one of the guys that me and Devin talked about.
Jay Luss said, got to be Rainer here. Let's see if he's 2 for 2.
If he's 2 for 2, I'm going to ask him where he's at right now.
Yeah, or he's getting the tweet updates.
Bryce Rainer. Yeah. 2 for 2.
Prep, the second best prep bat on the board for us. Conor Griffin was number 1. Bryce Rainer, shortstop, not even listed as a right-handed pitcher here. So that's to know.
Yeah, and he is a two-way guy. He's got some of the easiest deliveries. It's one of the easiest deliveries I've seen from the right side in a while. And he's been up to 95, 96. There's that NHSI hit. That NHSI game where he had 2 doubles in the first 2 at-bats was really impressive because it was 105 plus off the bat both times. And he boasted the highest exit velocities at the event. When talking to Evan Petzel from the Detroit Pre-Press the other day, he was one of the guys that we talked about right off the rip.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like looking at Rainer, the bat got better. It got faster. The hit tool turned out better because he had a really rough summer circuit last year.
Yeah.
Really didn't sync up well, really didn't get the bat to ball. There were really concerns that he could just be an arm, to be honest. But the bat just looks so much better. It's a good run tool. He can pick it at shortstop. He's got that bigger frame. It kind of comes in like a Corey Seager, Colson Montgomery kind of guy. I think at the end of the day, he has the tools to stick at shortstop.
We do have Rainer video, so let's throw it up in there. Yeah, I think this is him on the mound, or is this him?
No, this is him hitting.
Okay.
This is the only game I was able to get of him at NHSI because I will say working 4 fields at the same time, tough.
Yeah.
It's the easiest way to put it. Jason, I don't know how familiar you are with Bryce Rainer, but like if you have any opinions on this, feel free to go ahead.
I mean, the thing that, just from a college perspective that jumps out, this is Schloss's kind of first loss of his high school group that has committed. So he's committed to Texas. So kind of an interesting backstory is this is the first individual that Schloss. I mean, obviously they weren't going to be, I say obvious, LSU was able to nab one, but the expectations was that he wasn't going to be making it to campus. But this is, again, the new Texas regime. This is their first high school individual not to make it.
Yeah, and they do have a really solid class this year too.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. I've seen the Red Sox pick, but I'm not going to say it. No, it is not you, Savage Drew.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna go 1 for 12.
Yeah.
Well,
we'll let everybody know bets available on the board. Outfielder Braden Montgomery out of Texas A&M. Trey Savage, right-handed pitcher out of East Carolina. James Tibbs III, outfielder out of Florida State. Cameron Smith, third baseman out of Florida State. Those are the top 5 on our board, our top 4. And then we have Cam Caminiti coming in at 5, left-handed pitcher. We should probably pick William Schmidt off that board.
We forgot to take care of that, really. To be fair, he did say he was going to campus at like 4:00 today.
Yeah. So,
and if I remember correctly, you guys were out getting Shake Shack, and I was at that in here just like chilling.
I got a text from you, and it's like, "Oh, it's time to update the board." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, I did do that.
Here's a little slow mo of Bryce Rainer right here, so you can see all the movements.
Just explosive athlete. Looks, like I said, looks a lot better than what he did last summer, and I'm kind of really glad that happened.
Yeah, Red Sox pick is in, so now you know.
So it's not you, Savage. So we're wrong on that for the mock.
Yeah.
Correct. Thanks for going.
Montgomery.
Best available on the board.
That is true.
Braden Montgomery.
You don't think they go Caminiti, do you?
No, I think he's more of a fit for the Giants more than anything.
Maybe Greg's right.
Well, yeah, one person is right. Who's?
But did we know Tony Vitello had the
Oh yeah,
the Jaguar
gotta
thing
shout
on
out
earlier?
Tony V looking slick right now on the draft stream. My man is looking like 1,000 million bazillion bucks right now.
That's
Shout out
your
Tony V.
boy. That's your guy.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, last time we were talking to you, Jason, the Tennessee recruiting class this year in the portal only had one commit, and here we are a couple days later. Keelan, Fisher, Doyle, the guy from Niagara that I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name.
Radishak.
Yeah.
Eric Radishak. Yeah.
Like, they've really cleaned up in the portal.
Yep.
Yeah. Rather quickly. It was funny because we said, what's something that's surprising? It was like, well, Tennessee just won a championship. They're probably going to have like 8 to 10 guys drafted. I'm surprised they don't have more. And then to your point, boom, boom, boom. They got 3 of the top 15.
Red Sox are happy. They're clapping in the war room.
Thank you. I was working my golf clap today with Patrick because he had some good shots.
Yep.
Patrick
Here we go. Picks in. It is.
Yep. There he is.
Braden Montgomery, Texas A&M outfielder, joining the Boston Red Sox.
And this was the number 1 guy in the portal last year, if I
Yep.
remember correctly, Jason.
Yep.
Correct. It was him and Chase Burns were 1-2. So
Okay.
you've got 2 of the top 12 picks from the portal last year. I would actually make that 3 because Seaver King was also in the portal. So that was one of the biggest differences between last year and this year. Is you had guys that were like, holy cow, these are for sure going to be first round picks. I don't know. You maybe have that in Cade Fisher, but he's potentially slipping a little bit. So we'll see if you have that again next year. But this year you're seeing three in the top 15.
Yeah, that's really impressive too. And that kind of just goes to show how the college landscape's really changed too.
Yep. And I think the one thing we'll say about Montgomery, as you see from the BP video that we've had, of course, we have great video of Montgomery. Thanks to Tyler. Switch hitter, but he's better on one side of the plate than the other. Tyler, kind of go into that a little bit.
Yeah, so kind of looking at it from the left side here, he's a lot more in control of the barrel, has probably better approach, in my opinion, from the left side too. Hitting that single to the opposite field, I think it was 109 off the bat. That's a really smooth swing. Everything's direct. Everything's fluid. Everything works.
Yeah.
He was hitting balls in BP across the street at Founders that day too. But the biggest thing from the right side is at the beginning of the year, we were like, is this usable?
Yeah.
You're
running out of battery.
Oh, am I? Oh, that's cool. My charger's over there. The biggest thing with Braden's right side is the swing and miss is more apparent. It's the swing mechanics are not as great. And I think at the end of the day, somebody's just going to tell him, like, I think you're better off being just a lefty. Yeah. Which I think at the end of the day, that's probably the best thing to do. He's going to be in right field. The arm is just insanely good. I don't think he's going to see any pitching time at all. He did. Yeah. I think he started the game this year. If I'm wrong, Jason.
Yeah, he played a midweek game, but I think he lasted like an inning. It didn't go well.
Oh, yeah.
So agreed with you. It'll be hit only.
Yeah, but like I think at the end of the day, it's gonna be a left-handed hitting outfielder with 6 power.
Yeah.
Maybe an average or better hit tool. Not the greatest runner, not the greatest route runner either, but like that arm is 70 grade. Mm-hmm. And I think somebody could even put an 8 on it if they really want to get fancy.
Yeah. I'm curious to get your take too, because I think before he got hurt, we were kind of talking like top 5, potentially top 6 pick. What kind of changed that made him drop down to the Red Sox at 12?
I still don't know how much the injury really played into this happening.
Yeah.
I think it was just maybe it's more of a money thing. And kind of looking at the teams that go ahead of this, they have a lot different draft strategies.
Yeah.
Especially everything that changed with like the Royals and the Nationals last night. It's just I really don't want to peg this on the injury itself.
No.
Because it happens so late in the year. He's already shown you what he can be, essentially. It's probably just a mix of multiple things. Maybe some medical issues. I don't know the full story. I likely will not know the full story, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just overall, like, Could there be a potential for it to have been an issue? Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not going to rule anything out, but I don't think that's the full story here.
Yeah, I agree. The talent was just too high. There was some rumors circulating about the Royals even taking him at 6, but when you have Cags land in your lap, I think you just wind up going that direction.
I like that you've now changed face on this.
Yes,
Instead of saying you want whiskey and bourbon shots tonight, you're now just like being fine with it.
You're drinking more coffee and getting
the Chardonnay that we brought for you has not been opened at all yet.
Recca is mad because the Giants were 1 pick away from getting Montgomery.
He wanted Montgomery so badly.
Yeah.
He really did.
Sorry, Recca.
There's those 3 weekends in Arlington you were talking about when Arkansas played Oregon State, and you had Smith versus Bazzana. Well, Montgomery, they played another weekend, and that's just a massive field. And he was batting left, and he hit one oppo, like a laser out to left center field. And I was just like, it was kind of one of those jaw-dropping moments of seeing a guy go oppo in a massive major league field that goes, okay, this guy's got some serious pop.
Yeah. Love it. I think we're up. Giants pick is in. Looks like we're about to get that coming our way as well.
Cam Kennedy still on the board.
He is on the board.
That's been a fit. The thing with Detroit and Kennedy was more of a smokescreen. I found that out this morning. So that's why we obviously didn't go Kennedy at 11. Yep. I still think the best fit is probably this is kind of where it starts for him a little bit. If not, it's Savage.
Yeah. Or if they're not an outfielder, do they go Tibbs?
Maybe. We'll find out here in 5 seconds.
Yep. We'll get that pick. Manfred's out there making the announcement. What do we got? Oh. James Tibbs, the third, joining the San Francisco Giants, getting the second best outfielder after the best outfielder after Montgomery.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think the best way to describe it is we mentioned the platoon risk earlier. Not the greatest against lefties, but that swing is just so pure, and it really does work for him. This is a guy that was kind of like Condon, where he came in the year like, could this just be a first base profile? Now he's shown you that he can play right field and play it at a decent enough rate to where it's like you don't have to put him at that first base position and have to kind of just go for it.
Yeah.
The power and hit tool is immaculate. He's a data darling. Everybody loves him this year. He was a big riser halfway through the year. I think this is a good value. I think it's really good value at this point in the draft. So, Jason, you got any thoughts on it?
I mean, really, the thing that's standing out to me is we're at pick 13 now, and it's been 11 bats pretty much from college. We got 2 pitchers, but it's just showing you kind of, it seems like where the draft is kind of trending. I don't know if it's just this specific one, but it seems as though that they're looking for value, and they're looking for value right away. And it seems like this is a guy who can bring that. You're talking about, versus lefty. I think he was in the regional or super regional. He just hit an absolute tank lefty. So, I mean, he's got some just absolute pop. So interested to see how he does in the Giants.
Wasn't it like a 3 home run game against?
Yeah, he went crazy.
Yeah,
it may have been UConn. I can't remember. It was something insane. But yeah, I like I said, it's a good value pick here. I think. Even if you ignore the platoon split, even if that is the case, you're probably looking at a guy that's going to hit a bunch into McCovey Cove.
Yep. You're going to be happy about it. You get some Jock Peterson vibes. We were talking about that as a comp at some point.
Yeah, we did. And we're also going to enjoy watching all the kayakers out there in the bay to have some fun.
He's an older guy. I mean, he's almost 22 as well. So they may be able to get a little bit of value. He's 21.8, I think. So they may be able to get a little bit of value out of that.
Someone said I get Cole Calhoun vibes from Tibbs.
That's really not a bad comp.
No, it's pretty good too.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Calhoun at Arizona State when I was working there, and he just absolutely hit.
Kind of similar, body types too.
Yep. Yeah.
And they really do look alike.
It's sad we know the Cubs pick already. Well, I know it.
Well, you know it. I don't, because I told you to get off Twitter. I'm not looking at your screen anymore.
We're staying in the ACC. I'll give you that.
Ooh.
Little hint.
We do have an ACC player.
The best available then.
Do we? Oh,
yes, we do.
Ah.
His name is currently rolling across the screen right there.
Oh, we didn't have the screen roll. Whoops.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
We didn't have the ticker. Forgot to put the draft ticker in.
We had that
Pick is
all
in.
prepared. Too.
Cubs pick is in.
So we had Cam Smith at that last night, and we had Tibbs originally.
You might be onto something.
Back-to-back Florida State.
If this is number 2. No, probably not.
Yeah, we don't need a ticker.
Yeah, we're fine as it is. Like, we're having a great time right now.
Oh yeah, I gotta send this link to. We might have a. Greg might join us too after the Cubs pick.
Oh, Greggy boy?
Yeah.
Heck yeah, I like Greg. Both Gregs, the one here and the one there. So yeah, we originally had Tibbs at the pick last night, and then I just had like an epiphany because of the Chardonnay. What about Cam Smith?
Chardonnay.
Jason doesn't know this, but last night I had Chardonnay to go with coffee.
Oh, lovely.
Let me tell you, coffee as a chaser, actually really sweet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coffee is a chaser.
Yeah.
And in the evening. So, okay. I'm getting to the age where if I have coffee after about 11 p.m., I'm not sleeping for a while. So that's an aggressive chaser.
Yeah, I think my issue was I did have a final to do last night too, while also doing the mock.
Yeah,
so,
don't schedule a final before draft day. Rule of thumb.
No, I think the thing is I should have done it before I hopped on the plane, and I didn't.
Yeah. So we're what? If Cam Smith is coming to be, we're 2 for 14.
Yes, 2 for 14.
It's not bad. That's not bad.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
You bet. That's Scotty Monson on the phone.
Gotta love it.
I also gotta say the Wrigleyville uniforms they've grown on me.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet.
I really like them.
Here comes the official announcement of Cam Smith.
You're back on Twitter again.
To the Chicago Cubs.
Is that
what? We haven't had it yet. We're not there yet.
I've given up on following Twitter because it's pretty incredible how quickly people are pulling it up.
We got another one in the books.
Oh, there you go.
Cam Smith to the Chicago Cubs, third baseman. Florida State out of the ACC. Tyler, you saw Cam this year. What do you got on him?
I was telling this to Drew earlier because he was gracious enough and asked for opinion on him. The launch angle is a little bit of concern. It's only an average launch angle of like 5 degrees, but
yeah,
the approach he carried over from the Cape last year, where he cut the contact rate troubles in half. He cut the chase rate in half, basically. He was chasing at like 33% clip last year, had a contact rate below 70%. This year it was like 80% with like a 19 or 21% chase rate.
Yeah.
Really started using the backfield more as well. And it's just insanely powerful. He's built like a linebacker, and he moves fluidly at third base too. Like, I think the only thing I have on him defensively is the arm can get out of whack a little bit, and his hands are a little bit stiff. But he moves rather well for a guy that's 6'3", 224. I think at the end of the day, if you add some loft to that swing, that's an insanely powerful man that's going to hit 20 plus home runs on the regular.
Yeah.
That was going to be my question, was his position, really. Because
I
seeing him up close live, I don't know if he's a third baseman, but his arm is massive, absolutely massive. So even if he's not a third baseman, they could easily move him into corner outfield, and he'd fit right in, I feel like.
I think so too. Maybe and that may be something they probably thought about too this year. If Tibbs wasn't on campus, could he have played right field?
Yeah. Interesting.
Maybe.
Rekka said he's like Mark Vientos.
That's actually not bad. That's a good comp. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't like how Tony Vitello looks like he's staring into Jack Caglianone's soul right now on this interview.
Maybe you should have.
I gotta get up the
Okay.
All right.
Jack wouldn't have gotten that book if he'd have thought twice about where he played.
That's fair. We had Seattle doing something weird too.
We got Greg. What's going on?
How you doing, boys?
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. This is a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah. Welcome to the stream. Gotta get some room over here. Actually, we can probably do this and make it fit. There we go. Boom.
Whoa, very nice.
Yeah.
So We do fantasy stuff here too at
Yep.
Prospects Live, and just beyond what you guys are doing an amazing job, by the way. This is unreal. But we do fantasy stuff, and that's what I look after. And I think there's some standout picks here that are really going to make a big difference. So Condon, the Colorado, the first one, just blows my mind what he's going to be able to do there.
Yeah, agree.
The power, the hit. We're going to see 300 averages. We're going to see 35 plus home runs. He's going to be a fantastic fantasy asset right off the bat. So I like that one as well. Hagen Smith to Chicago, I thought it was really interesting. I didn't expect that one. But pairing him up with Noah Schultz, I think is pretty lethal. Two stellar lefties. Just killer. So I like that. I like that fit a lot.
And I was even thinking last night when we had Hagen to the Cardinals in our mock was like Quinn Matthews and Hagen Smith as a lethal lefty
That'd
duo.
be disgusting. That'd be a fun time.
Yeah. So I really like that pairing a lot. And then I think Wetherholt dropping down to St. Louis, I didn't expect him to be there at that point. I think that's a good fit too. Whether he's a shortstop or second baseman, they have Mason Wynn there, so maybe he's a second baseman.
Maybe.
But premier hitter, top of the lineup. I think he'll be a good table setter for the rest of that lineup. So those are some ones that I thought were really good fits.
Love it.
Absolutely. I do see a question about American homegrown Latino talent. Off the top of my head, Sinjay immediately comes to mind.
Yeah.
And the pick is in for Seattle. We had Sinjay mocked to Seattle.
Are we going to go 3 for 15?
I would love that if that happens because I already know Seaver King to Miami. It's not happening.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some other guys too that kind of show up in that kind of range too. Maybe I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head for like this year's draft class. Like Daniel Cuvée in 2026 is a guy that really comes to mind. That could be a top 10 draft pick in 2 years. Looking at next year, Anthony Martinez.
Yeah.
Anthony Martinez is interesting.
Yeah.
Out of UC Irvine. There's kind of just looking at the list that we have here too. Like Lomavita is not Latino; he's Hawaiian. I keep forgetting that. Sinjay is really the only one I could think of in the top part of this draft. Really. Maybe we can. Oh, that's not touchscreen like I thought it was.
Nope. We got the Mariners pick. It's coming in. Who do we got here?
Oh my goodness. Good luck with the pronunciation.
Oh. Sinjay.
You're Angela.
3 for 15.
Let's go. 2-0. Crushing it over here. That's back to back. I don't think we have any of your Angelo footage, do we?
No, I was not able to get Sinjay. The last time I saw him was in high school. This is when he was PG National, so he's still doing switch pitching, and he wasn't up to 98 like he is now.
Yeah.
But Sinjay's one of the more interesting guys. Like, he really did kind of ditch the left-handed pitching thing this year. I think it was only something like 120 pitches total from the left side. But the right-handedness, just that side for him is impressive.
Yeah.
98 with the fastball. The fastball has good carry and good ride to it, and it's kind of flat too. So it fits the Mariners mold a little bit. Really good slider that we even had Will put a 6 on. It's like an upper 80s slider with 2-plane break and has some good bite. There's a changeup in there too that works really well. And he's got a bigger curveball. So from the left side, I think it's more of like a 88, 91, kind of gets up to like 3 or 4 sometimes with like a decent breaker.
Yeah.
But just the upside from the right side is a lot better. Do I think he might ditch switch pitching? I think he might.
Yeah.
It's an interesting conversation to have, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bit of a gimmick, but do you think that, say, he has an injury with the right arm, does he pitch lefty?
Yeah. And like, can he what's the rules in MLB now? Can you switch after one batter?
I think they
I
still
think you have to declare.
Yeah. They have to declare.
That was the minor league game. It was the old Creighton because he's not the first switch pitching. It was the Creighton end and I don't know if y'all have seen the video where the batter and the pitcher just kept switching sides. I want to say that was from like 2015 or so.
I think
after that season, they made it to where I think the batter or the pitcher, one of them has to declare.
I think it's the pitcher.
Yeah,
I think it is, and that's the trouble when it comes up with like a switch hitter and switch pitcher. Like Pat Venditti is hoping that never happens again.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely very interesting.
Excited for this next pick.
You already know what it is. Of course you do.
Let's go.
The only question is Ian Smith happy about it?
I don't know.
I'll find out here in a couple minutes.
Get some insights for us.
Oh, I just saw who it is.
The next pick is a guy who was a guest on the Clock podcast. So once it gets dropped, we'll tell you where to find that interview. Really good dude. I think everybody's gonna like this pick. I will like this pick. Marlins fans might not like this pick.
I think they might.
I think yeah, big time power.
Yeah, you don't have to put it on a tee for me anymore.
What?
Is this an SEC commit? I don't know but it sounds like this is an SEC high school commit.
South Carolina.
That it is.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Maneri's not getting his prize jewel on the campus.
Nope. That's high pick for him too.
And I think Miami definitely, with the way that they've had guys from Seattle come over, like Peter Bendix from Tampa, kind of really put this into perspective. And I can't remember the name that the Marlins got from Seattle. That's like they kind of go bat heavy. His mind's really slipping my mind right now. But he was the forefront of the Seattle going after bats.
Yeah.
So this isn't a shock whatsoever. They're going after bat. And I think with the Marlins having King go 10, they may have been sniped.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah.
Because Peter Bendix was in Charlotte to see Honeycutt, Seaver King, all these guys in person.
I think we saw a lot of mocks having King go to the Marlins.
Yep.
And so this seems like this could be the second option here.
And if that's the second option, I like it.
Yeah, it's good. It's big power off the board. A lot of fun. Really fun individual. So it'll be intriguing to see if this will come to fruition.
They're still on the clock, right?
I think he's like 50% of their slot value. So I want to say like they've got like 9 million that they have to work with
like
in
that,
this pick slate. So I mean, it's intriguing to see that they're picking a high school guy that would be theoretically high leverage. So
yeah. Save some money in these other picks.
And I think Houston's in that same mold too. They had the lowest slot pool in the entire draft at just under $6 million.
Yeah.
And their first overall pick, something like $3 million and some change. That's over half their slot value. That's like 60% of it. So Houston, the rumor has it today is they could do something really funky at 28 later. So I'm excited for that personally. Give me chaos.
Also, this kind of ruins our 39 overall.
We've got 3 picks right, and they're not even like picks you would expect to get right either.
Jason, to let you know what we did is we thought because the Nationals got extra money, they were going to like underslot or cut at 10 and then spend more money on this guy at 39.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
That was the original plan, and then I switched it earlier.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah, because William Schmidt pulled out of the draft. He was our option at 36.
That's right.
And then obviously, like LSU got a really big win in that today too, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And there are rumors that LSU could do some weird stuff
Orlando.
too. They're like LSU's not done.
Yeah, I mean, LSU I think has 7 transfer portal pitchers already committed. I mean, I know they've got quite a few that could go get drafted themselves and like, the later rounds, but it's pretty interesting to see like what they'll be planning to do for their lineup next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting note here. PJ's being drafted as an outfielder.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the biggest thing here with PJ was the defensive versatility. A lot of people thought he would probably just be a first baseman. He's super athletic for a kid of his stature and size. He's a really big kid, 6'3", 200. And I think he even plays up from that too.
Yeah.
And he's actually trying something new in his swing. He mentioned on our podcast a couple weeks ago where he's trying some sort of toe tap-ish thing. Yeah. And it really worked at the combine. And I think that really saved him from being bound for Columbia now. Like, I think the team really liked what they saw there and decided, we're going to throw the money at you. So that's a big hit for Palmineri and his guys because Monty Lee's been doing a pretty darn good job recruiting. And, like, whenever Kingston was let go, there was a bunch of these kids, including Morlando, who was vouching for Monty Lee to be the head coach.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Petrie, everyone who thought he was going to be entering the portal, it was basically what's going to happen with Lee, because it felt like what happens with Lee happens with Petrie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, like, he got paid handsomely to stay. Lee did. The pulmonary thing really did surprise me out of left field, though.
Yeah, 100%.
Because he retired originally because of health issues, I think.
Yeah. All right. What do we got next? Who's on the board here? Brewers.
Brewers are next. That was Waldschmidt. I remember that one specifically. We had Waldschmidt there.
Yeah.
Trey Savage is still on the board.
Yep. Yeah, Savage has fallen to 17.
Caminiti's still on the board.
Makes you wonder about Caminiti's signability. No? Or is it not late enough yet? Because I guess he's 16 on our board, so might not be late enough for those concerns.
I'm not sure, honestly. So Jason, just kind of want to ask you too, because I know you had some stuff going on with the draft, and you had some interesting like cards that you're putting out tonight too that I saw earlier. You had a primer out for. If you want to explain that more too, like I thought that was a really interesting thing you were doing there.
Yeah, so when the draft changed to 20 rounds in 2021 after the 5-round in 2020, wanted to just kind of follow how ultimately the portal has changed the draft, NIL has changed the draft quite a bit. So looking at the percentage difference between where an individual is taken, when they're expected, or like their age, or what conference they come from, and ultimately trying to give them a number of variables to where you can effectively provide like a standard deviation bracket of, okay, this is your expected sign. So ultimately it's trying to figure out of, okay, well, if I have a guy that's going in the 8th round that maybe in the past was getting like $40,000 to $60,000 because he was 23 years old, what is he going to do? Is he going to sign? I mean, again, like what the last 3-4 years, you've got like 98-99% of guys have signed if they're within the first 10 rounds. So I mean, there's always this signability question, and how is NIL, how is college, how is that impacting it? So it's a really fun math game, and I'm sure these GMs are just have their big calculators out, and as they're talking to these agents, like saying, hey, this is what we think we can leverage, and like, what is your guys' number? And it's just I would love to be a fly on the wall, but yeah, that's mainly what the cards are associated with is, hey, these are the college players, this is their expected value associated with their pick, and ultimately trying to see if that's right or not, because I'm sure it's going to be wrong more often than I would like it to be, but hoping to make it as good as possible.
Just like I was saying earlier, I think we're used to being wrong, and why did I look over?
I don't know. This is a choice by the Brewers, but interesting.
You keep looking. Like as soon as you say that, I'm like pulling up the live stream, and I'm just seeing Jeff talking about. I'm guessing PJ. I don't know. Looking dapper as always. I may be a little behind because I'm streaming it here.
Braylon Hagen has gone to the Milwaukee Brewers.
This is a lot higher than I thought he would be.
Number 55 prospect on our board.
Yeah, this is. I saw him last year at PDP, and there was a lot of stuff I could really take from it that I really liked. Very twitchy, very athletic, can play center field, and I think he stays there long term. I also don't like how the outfield wall and stream there was just a brick wall in Texas. But he's a Houston commit, and Houston, we talked about the other week where they got a really good portal class. The prep recruitment was really kind of just Payne.
Yeah.
So this is a big hit for them, obviously. But I think the thing with Payne, he's super young. He's 17, 70 runner, stays in center field. And I think there's a lot to project on that. He's 6'1", 180.
Yeah.
I think personally, this is a guy that is probably going to get something over slot maybe, or at slot value. And Milwaukee still has 3 more picks tonight.
Yeah. You think he's going to get slot value?
He could. It's something like $4 million still at this point.
Yeah.
Or $5 million. I don't remember the specific number.
Yeah, they got 4 picks in the top 100 too.
Yeah.
So I mean,
so they had 14.1 as their total purse. Yeah, and this one was 4.5.
Yeah, they got some money to move around.
Yeah.
I think he'll probably be more of a slot value kind of guy. I don't know if he would get over slot.
No, I don't think so.
Or maybe he comes in under slot. I don't know.
I think he could, given where he's been ranked on a lot of boards. But
yeah.
Be interesting to see what they do there. They do go over slot in their next pick. That'll be the determination is what they do with the next pick.
If they wait until the third round again and get like a Batanti type,
Yeah,
that'd be so fun.
Yeah.
Oh god, the brick wall outfield there. Ugh.
I mean, I was talking about the percentages, and so picks 16 through 20 over the last 3 years have gotten negative 1.3. So basically slot value, but he's also less than 18 years old. He's super young.
Yeah.
So I mean, generally guys like this, they go way over slot value.
Yeah. And Houston, like you said, has been doing good in the portal. So they've been stacking up on guys, and he was a Houston commit. So see what they do there.
I'm interested.
Savage still hanging out.
Kim and E's still hanging out too.
Yeah.
Rays are interesting. We had Sloan there.
That could come to fruition.
Yeah, I don't know if that. So this was a rumor I heard a couple months ago. Apparently, there was already a deal for Rays and Sloan. I feel like it was more smoke, if anything, because if somebody's got a deal 2 months out from the draft, I don't think that's really anything legitimate.
Yeah.
But it was something we took note of, and Sloan is kind of a riser right now. He's honestly probably if Kim and Nitty isn't like the best arm in the class right now, and it was already gone, Sloan's the next best one.
Yep.
So that's kind of where I'm picking on that. Savage is still available. He kind of fits the type pretty well.
Yeah.
He's also just falling a lot more than I thought he would.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what Tampa does here. We'll see what happens.
They're going to do something weird.
Yeah. Well, we'll go through the best available. What we got right now. We got Trey Savage, right-handed pitcher out of East Carolina. Cam Caminiti, left-handed pitcher out of Saguaro High School in Arizona. Malcolm Moore, catcher out of Stanford. Vance Honeycutt, outfielder out of North Carolina. And then Ryan Sloan, right-handed pitcher out of York Community. So that's our top 5 that we got rolling. Jason, I know you got a board. What do you got for your top 5 right now?
Yeah, I have Trey, Cam, Vance Honeycutt. I have number 3, Carson Binge. I would say William Schmidt, but he's gone. And then Brody Brecht. Pitcher from Iowa. Honestly, he was a guy that I was really expecting maybe a little more out of, to be honest. Because, I mean, this is a guy who has insane numbers. I don't know if you've seen Brody much, but just he's kind of one of those guys that just jumps off the page.
Yeah. It's Brody Brecht. I think there's been a lot of smoke at him in 20 with the Blue Jays.
Yes.
So that's something. Greg, we might have to have you hop on here for some live reactions once that Blue Jays pick hits in.
You think we get Drew as well for the Phillies?
Yeah, Drew, you got to come in here. And we got Drew right now.
Hey, folks. Super quick. Just wanted to say, I don't know. What's up with a brick outfield wall?
Don't know.
Does that school hate their students?
I have no idea.
I'm going to say yes. We're talking about boards, and I just wanted to give a quick update to the fantasy board that we released today on the Prospects Live Patreon. Number 1 pick available still, Trey Savage for sure. Ryan Waldschmidt, number 2. Cam Caminiti at number 3. Ryan Sloan at 4. And then Brody Brecht at 5. So kind of a nice combination between you guys and the board at 64 Analytics. Really hyped for that, and the pick's in here.
Yeah, pick is in. Also, for people who are playing Dynasty Fantasy Baseball, be sure to check out the Patreon, all the great work happening by Drew and Greg. Got to get on it. Theo Gillen going to the Tampa Bay Rays. Did we get that right?
No.
Okay.
I had him with the Dodgers. That's another Texas recruit gone.
Yep.
I'm not excited about it, but also at the same time.
Yep. Another Texas commit.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy, Schloss.
Yeah.
I didn't say that out loud, did I?
Yeah, you did.
Whoops.
It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, I'm okay.
It's just us. There's no one else here. Yeah, we're good.
There's no one watching.
I'm among friends.
I don't see the 24-25 eyes up there right now.
Oh, hi everyone. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to say that.
Sorry, Texas fans.
What happens in Dallas stays in Dallas.
Yeah.
Hey, Rekka says Gillen announced as an outfielder. That's going to be kind of interesting as well. I mean, the body is certainly there.
Wow.
I don't know.
Intriguing.
He doesn't have the stereotypical arm strength.
No.
He wasn't. He had a shot to be either infielder, shortstop, or he could have been a center fielder. I think he's got the shots for center field.
Yeah.
I don't. The hit tool is probably the leading part of that. I think it's hit over power, but I don't really hate this for Tampa Bay.
No,
I really don't.
and they do well developing these kind of guys, right? These prep guys that still need to get some things figured out. Like Tampa, you always know whoever they draft has a good chance of being like a top 100 guy in the first round.
Adrian Santana.
Yep.
Santana's the good comp here.
They took Braden Taylor, and he's been absolutely mashing baseballs too. I know he's a college guy, not a prep, but still, they just do a good job developing these kind of bats, and gotta like the pick here. Rays are always happy with whoever they pick.
Absolutely. I got to jump back off. We've got images and things to produce on the Twitter.
Yeah.
But thanks again for having me. I'll be back for Phillies. If y'all would have me, I'd be more than happy
Yes,
to rejoice
you're coming
with
on
that.
for Phillies. That's not even a question.
Well, thanks, buddy. That's really nice. Y'all are doing a fabulous job. Shout out to Rekka in the chat, my homie. Shout out to Josh Tatum. Do want to throw out a quick joke that he threw at me a minute ago. He said, and I quote, Buck Showalter said this was a deep draft. Buck Showalter walks around puddles to avoid the death. Shout out Josh Tatum.
Fantastic.
Great.
Going
I
off
also want to call out Rekka. He is phenomenal. I get like a message every day from him of like 10 to 15 obscure commitments for the portal. So greatly appreciate all that he does.
If you want to know the Northeast region, man, Rekka's got you covered. He's got everybody over there.
Dude. Like, to go further on Rekka too, he's just an all-around fantastic human being to be around.
Yeah.
Like,
incredible dude.
He was one of the guys we had in the final board update. Get off Twitter, dang it.
I think we got one right.
Get off Twitter. But like, Rekka's just very down to earth. I absolutely love the guy, and there's no more nice things I can really put out there other than that.
The pick's in though.
Yeah. So last year I was just a Google Doc, a free Google Doc, and I made him an admin because he literally gave me so many picks. I was just like, hey man, just go in there and change them yourself because you know this a lot better than I do.
Yeah. Rekka, if you're still in here, buddy, we love you. We wish you were here. Dude, you do a fantastic job. Please keep it up. Please.
What, we got messages in the private chat? Oh, I forgot Greg's in.
Yeah.
We got Greg. What's going on, Greg?
Hey, what's happening, folks?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't even see you sitting down there.
Don't worry about it. I was enjoying the show just like everybody else. That's fine.
Yeah.
You want some Chardonnay?
For those you don't know, Greg is over at Ivy Futures doing some incredible work on the Cubs and the MLB draft. Greg, we got the Mets pick in here, but after this Mets pick, we'll have to get your reaction on Cam Smith.
Yeah, love it.
You could also do that.
Yeah, that works. That works.
So who do we have mocked to the Mets?
Culpepper.
Oh, so we got it wrong.
You had my hopes up, dude.
Culpepper killed my hogs in the regional. Just absolutely killed him. Against Hagen Smith, he hit that 3-run homer.
Oppo too.
Yep.
We got the 24 guy on our board coming off.
24. Benj?
Yep.
Carson
Wow.
Benj. I got that right.
That's a good pick for him.
okay.
I mean, they were kind of all over Benj too. So
Yeah, they were.
Did they list
He
him
was
as
one
a
of the guys
two-way
who-
player? Because he was a legit two-way player for Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
I think just outfield is what it's listed at.
Yeah, that's what it looks
Yeah.
like. I think that the interesting thing with Benj is the bat did turn a corner this year. He's still the shallow entry point for the swing through the zone is still something I'm concerned about because it's doesn't really he lofts the ball, but it's not necessarily fine-tuned, if that makes any sense. I think he's ultimately going to have to be a guy that's really needs to change the swing a little bit, but he can hit for power.
Yep. And
it's a good enough profile to stick in right field and be confident in at the next level. And he's also gets on the mound and throws 93, 94 with a good fastball and good slider. So like it works.
Yeah. What did you see in him when you saw him in the live looks?
It was just
Anything
that
special that series?
That shallow entry point into the zone is something that really intrigued me because he was getting
Yeah.
jammed a lot, really going opposite field most of the time, and you kind of see it here. Like the approach is good. The approach is good enough. It's just that swing does need a little bit of work there. Like right there, jam shot on the inside. You really struggle with the inner half.
Yeah.
At least in the games that I saw, and it was just. I do want to see how that changes with the Mets. I think the Mets do have a good enough hitting development program to they can get him to pull the ball more. And I think he's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I love it. You guys got some footage here, of course. Thanks to Tyler. At every single event, it seems like. Yeah, it's you. Carson Benj footage. Firing it up. Greg, you might have to come over here. The Blue Jays are on the clock. Got to get you ready for some
That's
live
right.
reactions.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, the Blue Jays, I mean, at least from some of the chatter, might be picking a guy that I was really high on, even potentially going 14 to the Cubs.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm right on that, but I was talking this guy up for a long time. So I guess we'll see if that comes to fruition there.
yeah. How are you feeling about the Cam Smith pick?
I do like it. I mean, this is something that they obviously passed on one of my guys that I think we'll be talking about here in just a couple minutes on the pitching side. But the Cubs have really kind of leaned into the model side recently, especially from a hitting aspect. And if you look at some of the inputs, and every team has models, right? Like every single team, doesn't really matter. They're using models to a certain extent, but the Cubs have certainly leaned into some of those aspects recently, and they really favor Cape Cod League performance. Well, Cam Smith did quite well there. He looked great from a whiff perspective. I think the in zone whiff was right about 10%. His chase rate was a better than average 21% or so. And he generated a lot of high exit velocities. I firmly believe that a team taking him probably in their pro development plan needs to kind of have a game plan. If you can just kind of marry the swings from freshman year and sophomore year, there's a swing in the middle there that can get to launch, that can still, help from balls on the outside corner, not chasing. The whiff still has some room that, if you wanted to take some more gambles on launch earlier, I think you can. And he's a guy that I will say earlier in the season, I was grading him out to be an above average third baseman. Later in the season, he looked like he had kind of lost a step. The range had dropped. I saw him live in Omaha. I don't want to speculate there, but you always wonder if guys are just playing through stuff. I mean, this is like the end of the year. They're playing in Omaha. All the cards are on the table, right? Very easy for something as very minor and nothing concerning long-term to just have a guy lose a half a step. But, I think that's just kind of something to watch for when we get into the pro side, when he's got a little bit of time to rest. What he looks from an instructs perspective, and hopefully he's even playing in affiliated ball here very soon.
Yeah, I love it. We got another Greg in the room. Greg, you got to come on, join us. He's a Blue Jays fan from Canada. Picks in. We got Savage on the board, Caminiti on the board, Malcolm Moore on the board, Vance Honeycutt. Who do you want?
I would love Savage. I did not think he would be here.
Yeah.
Maybe Malcolm Moore as well. They need catching.
We had Malcolm Moore here.
We did have Malcolm Moore here.
But do you want the kid that has Bazzana taped onto the back of his jersey already?
How do we get him on the call immediately?
We can walk down there.
Let's see what we got. It's probably already on Twitter, but it's fine. And it is Trey Savage going to the Blue Jays.
That's a good pick.
A guy that I would have been fine at 14. So I think the Blue Jays did quite well for themselves there.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. A lot of polish. He's one of the most polished pitchers in this draft. He'll move quickly. They need the help. They've got an older rotation and all the injuries they've had this year. 3 or 4 Tommy Johns on their best pitching prospects. This is fantastic. I'm thrilled, actually. This is awesome.
Yeah. Of course, we have a ton of footage of Savage. You saw him how many times, Tyler?
Couple. This was from the start on March 1st. So it's called Leclerc Classic, which can explain the uniforms, which I absolutely love. I don't know if you have any differing opinions on that, Jason or Greg, but I personally love the throwbacks ECU has. It's a really good color combo.
Great program.
Oh yeah, I really want them in Omaha at one point, dude. Mm-hmm. I really do.
That'd be so much fun.
But I think the thing with Savage is obviously during this start, he went 8 innings, struck out 11, walked 2, took a no-hitter into the 6th inning, I do believe, and was just outright dominant. And the thing that really stepped out for me was the splitter has gotten so much better.
Yeah. The
splitter has turned into a legitimate plus pitch. The slider is plus pitch. Fastball, you can go between above average and plus, I think. It depends on who you talk to. The fastball is steep from that high release, and it kind of does hamper it a little bit, but it's less the secondaries really eat out of that arm slot too. There's also a really good curveball they really didn't use this year in that arsenal as well. So throw strikes, potential for 3 above average or better pitches. And I think the curveball is pretty good too for what it is. I'm just in on it. I think the biggest thing with Savage was there were some concerns about the back a little bit.
Yeah.
That was the thing that I heard. That might be why he dropped a little bit. But I think at this point, having Savage drop this far and being Toronto, you're extremely happy having this in your lap.
Yeah. Greg Zumak, I think you have to jump out. You said, thank you for joining us, talking a little bit about the Cubs. Excited for you guys getting Cam Smith. So keep up the good work and tell everybody where they can find you on Twitter.
Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate you letting me just kind of jump on, give my thoughts here. It's a long night. I got to prep for round 2 here. But you can find me on what are we calling it? Twitter, X? It doesn't matter. But you can find me there at IV Futures. I talk a lot of Cubs draft, Cubs minor leagues, but honestly, I talk all things MLB draft too. That's my thing. I love it. So this is my highlight of my year. Is the MLB draft. So hit me up if you have questions about your team. Just happy to talk some baseball.
Awesome, man. Thanks for joining us.
All right.
Go Cubs, I guess.
Take care, guys. I love it.
See ya.
I got to throw in, this is a guy who had a collapsed lung.
Yeah.
And like what, week and a couple weeks later, he threw 110 pitches in a regional, something silly like that. Like maybe there's back issues, I'm not sure, but in a day and age where it seems like everything is about shelf life and, how long do we get to you to the pros? And then, how long are you going to be like, this is a guy that you say, okay, he's tough as nails.
Yeah.
Like, if you're able to go 110 pitches, like a couple weeks after having a collapsed lung, like you're a tough guy.
Yeah. Not to mention that's also a duel against Chase Burns to save your season.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
What a crazy game, by the way. I don't know if y'all watched that one. That was one of those games where it's like, okay, like they've got this, and then they brought in their closer, and then he walked a couple guys, hit, and then like it was like, all right, well, never mind. Like Wake Forest has this. It was just such a crazy. It was a phenomenal college baseball game.
It's one of the instant classics of the year, I think. And even then, we were complaining about the strike zone a little bit because the zone shrunk from the first inning to the third.
It was awful.
Yeah, it was not good. And like I
hate to harp on umps because they have such a hard job.
Yeah.
But Savage got pinched the inning that he gave up like a run or two. I can't remember. I just remember thinking like, oh man, like it was rough.
I think both Savage and Birds had like 4 walks or something, and I was sitting there like, should just be 1 each.
Yeah.
Like really?
Yeah.
I remember Savage had a few calls in the third that led to a run because like the umpire just wouldn't call anything on the outside black to a lefty, and I was just like, where's the strike here?
Well, Burns kind of does his strut after every strikeout, and he had quite a few struts that ended in a just a ball back to the pitcher, kind of like, oh, never mind, I guess it wasn't a strikeout.
Yeah, the Twins pick is in.
I think I had a Twins friend of mine that actually asked me who they're taking, and I'm like, well, it's not Tibbs.
Caminiti, Moore, Honeycutt, Sloan, Waldschmidt, top 3 for us or top 5 for us on the board.
Talk about a helium, Waldschmidt. My goodness.
Yeah, that guy has exploded. Let's see what do we got.
I love that phrase, by the way, helium. I'm stealing
Kalen Culpepper. Kansas State. 35 on the Prospects Live board. Jason, where was
what
he?
What did they list him as? MLB had him as shortstop. What did they list him as on the? Okay.
Yeah, we got Culpepper. What are your thoughts on that, Jason?
I mean, as an Arkansas fan, just you're talking about. We were showing Hagen Smith versus Bazzana, a guy who he carved up, and I think it was a 6-run inning or some like it was a curved number against Arkansas, and he was, I think, a 3-run homer over that like 365, 370 right below the jumbotron there in right field. I mean, he's got a lot of talent, and he's one of those guys that you're like, man, I hope they pitch around this guy, and then they threw right at him, and I was like, okay, never mind.
I'm also like, he's really emotional right now too. Yeah, I do enjoy it. I like it when the players do show emotion like this because this is a really important day in their life. So like this is.
He just became a multimillionaire, like literally in moments, because the slot value 3.9. He'll
too, which
get
I
it.
get. But then, man, he just showed up in the playoffs for K-State, and it was just awesome to see.
He's a big regional.
Yep.
Very big regional.
Yes, he did.
Oh, he was one of the guys I really liked coming into the year too.
Yeah.
Like athleticism really shows out. Like he's really athletic. And the swing's better.
Yep.
But the batted ball stuff can definitely improve. He's got a high chase rate. But I kind of do trust Minnesota's hitting dev to kind of work that out a little bit.
I do too.
And it's kind of a walking away from their model trend a little bit. Because he's not the stereotypical big slugger that gets on base a lot that they kind of covet a little bit. This is a shortstop that's a bit aggressive and has the pop and raw tools to make everything work. I kind of like it.
I love it. I think it's going to be a cool pick. I'm excited about seeing him there.
Intriguing. They've got Correa at short. It's like, okay, well, do they see him as a second base? Do they see him as a third? Like, do they see him as Correa's like, eventual, person that he takes over the job? Like, where do they see him?
Yeah. Question is, Caminiti. Who is overslotting Caminiti?
Here's my thing. If he's not a first rounder in the comp round, I think he's going to school.
Yeah.
I'm checking to see. I should know this. Okay, so he's at LSU. Oof. Yeah.
LSU said they were not done today.
Yeah.
You don't want to speak on things you don't know about, but I will say that the name, image, and likeness for Louisiana State University is it's impressive. So their NIL is quite good. So you never know.
Rekka said Nationals ! For Caminiti.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, 39.
39.
Where we had PJ Morlando.
Yeah, and Tyson Lewis now.
So that's what is that? 39.
39 and 44, I think.
Yeah.
Because they made that trade last night and just threw us a curveball.
Pick your
2.3. I mean, I feel like they'd have to go significantly over.
Yeah. And my question is, how much does Seaver give them an undercut?
Seaver.
That's the intriguing part, because that's
they got to have a number already worked out.
Yeah, that's like a $5 or $6 million deal. That slot for 10, I think. I can't remember what the exact number is, but
he's pretty young too, Seaver. I mean, he's just over 21.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a Nats fan and you get Seaver and Caminiti, you got to be pretty stoked. That's a good draft.
Oh yeah, the
Baltimore Orioles last 7 drafts have been impacted in the first round.
Great.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was talking to some guy today and he was like, "Oh, what do you think is going to happen to Bradfield? Great center fielder for Vandy." And it's just like their outfield is so stacked right now. They can't even really find a spot for Kjerstad. Like they're just trying to throw him as a DH every now. But I mean, the guy's like 1,400 OPS in AAA. It's like you gotta find a spot for him.
And Kobe Mayo, is kind of lurking in the wings a little bit. Apparently, they had him listed as a center fielder the other day by accident. I don't know if anybody saw that, but I was like, why are we trying the world's biggest bodybuilder at center field?
Rekka made a good point. The Nats didn't make that trade with the Royals, so they got an extra 2.5.
Yep.
And they did that underslot with King. So they got money to spend. That's going to be fun watching these Nats picks.
We do have the Orioles pick in.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the one with Maryland flag inside the thing?
Oh, did we get one right? No, we didn't.
No, it was bench here.
Was it bench?
I think it was bench here.
You guys had the bench.
Well, okay.
And we're not getting 23 right because it was Gillen.
Vance Honeycutt is off the board. Outfielder, North Carolina.
Everyone thought he was going to be 1-1 after his freshman year.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Hit 2 concerns. That's the sum.
Here's Judd Fabian light. I think that's the probably the best comp you can make here. Fabian had hit tool concerns, but everything else was so loud. Honeycutt's the same way.
Yeah.
This is a legitimate center fielder. I think some people have even said they put an 8 on the glove in center field, which is wildly impressive.
It's incredible. He's an incredible center fielder.
Yeah, 6 power, 7 runner, has a solid arm. It's just that there's never been a happy medium with the hit tool, and I don't think there ever will be.
No.
But when you're looking at Honeycutt, this is the kind of guy that if you get him to be like at least a below average hit tool, he's an average everyday center fielder.
Yeah.
I think this is incredible value. I mean, you talk about his defensive impact. I think he was a true freshman. It was in the regional game, and it was like top of the ninth, bottom of the ninth, and he robbed a home run in the regional as a true freshman. Literally saved their season. Incredible play at home. I mean, and you see him in the World Series this year, and it just felt like anytime someone threw him a pitch that was in his happy zone, he was crushing it. So I this feels like a really good value right here for the Orioles.
I really do like it. And like the postseason this year, he had his first walk-off home run against West Virginia and Supers in his career, for what it's worth. He never hit a walk-off bomb for UNC.
Mm-hmm.
Then he leads off the next game, first pitch home run to take the lead. Really impressed with him. And like, if we get to the open side swing here, the home run in one of these games, I really want to show it off because like,
should I go down here, back here? There we go. It was there.
It's one of these. Lots of bat speed, gets out in front, gets leverage, everything just works.
Yeah,
like that.
I think we got an open side coming right.
Yes, we
do.
Because of course we do.
And the bat drop
is. Just a special player, and like UNC really does value his skills and his achievements.
Yeah,
like this is one of the best ACC players of all time.
Yep,
I don't think that's an exaggeration saying that.
It isn't. It really isn't. I mean, he came on immediately as a true freshman, and he's just done it for 3 years.
And it's like, he strikes out a ton, but you take the power and you go with it.
Yep. Yeah, that's fun.
Slow-mo, I like it.
But I don't know if you have anything else planned tonight, but just let us know if you need to hop off or do anything. Like, feel free to just let us know.
Yeah, we don't want to keep you forever, but we enjoy having you.
I will hear
soon. As long as you want.
I've been holding off on doing any more, but I also don't want to overstay my welcome because it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed talking baseball.
Cody asked if they're hitching his swing, does he struggle with velocity?
It's not a hitch per se. I think it's just poor pitch recognition. He's too aggressive.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to put it. By aggressive, I mean like he'll expand the zone a lot to try and get his pitch. Yeah. But he still has a patient enough eye to where he's going to rack up your walks. He's not a 3 true outcomes hitter by any means, but he will he'll lay down a bunt. He'll use his speed on the base pass. He will be an absolute menace for anybody trying to get a throw to first base.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an exciting pick for ball. It's like your typical Baltimore pick too. Like if you want a team that's going to develop a bat, he's in a good spot.
Very much so. Does he fit the meme Orioles thing where they all look the same?
Do we have a picture?
He needs to grow his hair out. If he doesn't grow his hair out, like is he really going to fit in?
Oh yeah, because Gunnar does have a mustache now. Oh, they do. I think Vance is capable of growing a good mustache, to be honest.
Yeah, we are on the Dodgers now at pick 23. We got Cam Caminiti, our 16th overall. Malcolm Moore, 18th overall. Ryan Sloan, 21st overall. Ryan Waldschmidt, 22nd overall. Cash Mayfield, left-handed pitcher, 23rd overall. We still got Brody Brecht, 27th. Right-handed pitcher. What are we thinking the Dodgers are going to do here?
Hear me out. We had Theo Gillen there originally. It didn't work out. I don't know how their money is looking out bonus pool wise. Yeah. Caminiti, maybe this is where he goes.
Yeah.
I've got 4 high schoolers in my next top 5. So this is an interesting point right here because it's like you're almost getting to the point of like, what are you doing from a dollar's perspective? Not just a talent, but a dollar's perspective.
Terry, get off Twitter, dude.
I highlighted it for you.
That's a fun pick.
Yeah.
I love that. I really do, actually.
Yeah, that's intriguing. It's a prep.
I'm excited to see what this will be. Any hints? So I can try and guess. I'm not looking.
Florida, relatively raw, pretty new to baseball.
Oh man, I don't know.
Kellen Lindsay.
Kellen Lindsay, Hardy High School, out of Florida.
What?
That's a Florida commit too.
Yeah.
That's gonna hurt them a bit. Lindsay was like, nobody kind of knew what was going on with that because he was primarily a football guy coming into the winter. But I've had people tell me it's an 80 run tool. They think it could be like Adrian Santana, but maybe even better.
Wow.
Sticks on the infield. We were thinking he might be a center fielder long term too. Like he has that versatility like Gillen does. Seeing him picked as a shortstop is really good for his profile, I think.
Right before the Braves pick too.
Yeah, well,
seeing him pick with an LAD next to his name is for his profile.
that is true. That's very true. But I think the biggest thing with him is like there's so much potential still going on there for the fact that he's just scratching the surface of what he's capable of.
Yeah.
Like, again, this is a guy that really didn't focus on baseball until the winter this year and has just been electric all year. So I really do like this pick from the Dodgers, and they're probably going to turn him into a top 100 prospect in the next like 2 years, probably, because they make prospects like a country's GDP at this point.
I think Braves go pitcher here because track history, right?
Yeah, I know.
Cam Kennedi's out there, Ryan Sloan's out there, Cash Mayfield's out there, Brody Breck. I think they go arm. That's my
100%.
Yep.
There's so
I
many.
would go Brecht then. I think Brecht, his ceiling is so high.
Yeah.
I would go Brecht if they're going pitcher.
It would be so Braves to do that too, because they waited in the wings, got Waldrop last year.
Yeah, they did.
That's kind of like a similar drop and turn into value, and Waldrop's already in the majors.
Mm-hmm. Do they go opposite though because they went?
I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah.
And our thought process behind the mock this morning was I was talking to a few Braves scouts, and they really do value some of the prep arms in this range.
Yeah.
Schmidt was definitely one of them that was named, but obviously he's not going to be drafted tonight. Ryan Sloan was brought up. Dax Whitney, the Idaho kid that's got some value to
the
him.
guy that you've been talking about all weekend.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I have been chewing his ear off, by the way, on Dax Whitney.
Yeah.
Dax Whitney's really intriguing. Like, there's a lot of helium there, and obviously it's an Idaho kid, so the competition's not great right off the rip. Super projectable, up to 95, 2 really good breaking balls. And I just think that's the kind of stereotypical, like, projectable prep arm that you take and just hope everything clicks.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Pick is in for them.
That was very quick.
That was very quick. That didn't take long at all. Who do they go right here? Should I text
I'm interested to see what happens with the Dax Whitney Oregon State commit now that there's no longer a Pac-12 and what are the West Coast Conference. Like, how does that impact some of those guys who were signed?
Because what is the Pac-2 now, essentially?
Yeah.
Or like the Pac-West? Is that like the Mountain West and Pac-12 thing going on still?
I think they're West Coast Conference now.
Oh, that's a fun pick.
Jared! Not looking at you right now.
That's a good pick.
Take his laptop away.
It is a prep pitcher.
Oh.
Shocker.
Prep pitcher.
Why are you staring at me like that?
Some team's gonna be mad somewhere.
I don't like where this is going.
Old statement.
This is gonna be good. I'm excited.
The funny part is, viewers at home, my laptop's been in, not my laptop, because that's what we're using to stream. My phone's been in my notepad the whole time. I have not checked it much.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I'm doing my best to stay off this. This guy over here, absolutely not.
I can't help myself. I can't help it. I've
got like my 5 screens up, but ironically, one of them is not Twitter.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good one. Is it time to announce? Let's go.
I think it is. Thanks for giving it away.
There's more than one.
No, I think I know exactly which lefty it is.
You do? Cam Kennedy.
Yeah.
Left-handed pitcher out of Saguaro High School, Arizona.
I was about to say, if LSU gets both of these pitchers, like, come on now. Like,
yeah. They don't need any more. They're good.
That would be
As
wild.
much as I love Jay Johnson.
Oh man, that's a really good value get for the Braves.
Yeah, gotta love it.
The way with Caminiti is, because I know there's some differing opinions on the full profile as it is. The fastball shape isn't great, but it gets on hitters very quickly. It's very deceptive. He has crossbody delivery that really just hides the ball very well, and it jumps on guys really quickly.
Yeah,
can be a nightmare for lefties too.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing with Caminiti is the development of the breaking stuff.
Yeah.
I think he's got a serviceable changeup, but like the slider and the curveball really need to take that next step. And I think the slider did take it this year.
Yeah.
Fastball obviously did. He's sitting more in the mid 90s, hit 97, 98 later on.
He's there live too. That's
yes,
cool.
he is.
Love it.
And it's a really good, young, projectable left-handed pitcher that got bloodlines.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's Ken's nephew.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody remembers that, Ken Caminiti back in the early 2000s, I think. 90s? Okay. So whenever I was not existing in this world.
He almost reminds me of a little Noble Meyer-esque. Like, you see this guy up there who's at the draft, and he just looks so young. Like one of those guys that's like, okay, well, if he's got this stuff now, I'm sure the scouts and like all the coaches are like, what can he be in X amount of years?
Reclass guy.
Yeah, reclass. He would have been 18 and some change last year. Now he's 17 and 11. Just this is the kind of like model pick you kind of go after a little bit, I think. And the thing with Caminiti, like I said, with differing opinions, there's some guys that probably don't even think he throws much harder than he does and doesn't think he's a great athlete. I really do disagree with that. I think he is pretty fluid. Everything works perfectly. He's a good athlete. He's young. Everything's going to really work out in his favor, I think. He's got the indicators to really think that there's more in the tank. And I think at the end of the day, like the crossfire and everything working into it to kind of create that deception is going to play in his favor. Yeah. So I think this is going to be an interesting development path.
Yep, I agree.
In my opinion. So I'm excited to see what the Braves do here.
Yeah, I love it. The Braves are followed by the Padres. Gotta imagine that's a prep as well.
If the Padres don't go prep, I think I'm eating my pants on stream.
We're gonna hold you to that.
No.
I love when those phrases go out there because then I'm just really rooting for the opposite.
Yeah,
I know you are. I saw the grin on your face. It's just for me. There's just so much prep talent that could be here and can be taken in this range because there's not really a bunch of college bats or college arms really outside of like Breck and Tommy White and those guys.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me is how does say like Cash Mayfield.
Yeah.
Or who do we have to the Padres today? I can't remember who we had on the mock.
Not Wyatt Sanford.
No,
Caldwell.
It was not those two. No. You just named off like the 3 Arizona guys we had on the mock this morning.
Let's see.
Oh, so we had Mayfield to the Padres.
Yeah.
Can we get it right?
So if it's not Mayfield, Kellen Lindsey's the name of the game.
And
so
Kellen Lindsey's gone.
Cash Mayfield, let's see. I won't look this one up on Twitter, I promise.
Yeah, you stay off that, please. I will close that app on you.
We need to get one right.
I got two catchers in my top 6 right now, which is interesting. Yeah, Malcolm Moore and Walker Janik. So and
it's very weird
to see when those guys pop up.
Yeah, it's very weird with how good the college catching class is this year too.
It kind of feels like catcher's been pretty undervalued. I mean, it'll be interesting to see because you've got AAA now that they're using the robo umps. Like, where do they value catchers now? Like, do they start to devalue them? Like, where do they really start to put them?
Yeah, and thinking of like somebody that could definitely be hampered by like Jacob Cozart, one of the best framers in the country.
Yeah,
what does that mean at the next level?
Yeah,
if they start implementing that kind of thing.
Yeah, interesting. It doesn't mean much when you got the automatic strike zone.
Well, that's true, but also like we did experience the during the futures game, we had a challenge on that, and we got to experience it live in person. I don't know why people are complaining about it.
It's quick, takes 2 seconds.
It's very harmless.
Yeah,
I mean they've done it in tennis, and it's not like it ruined the game, right? It's one of those things. It's like, why would you not want the correct answer?
Yeah,
there's a lot of fun to it, but you got to want the right answer.
Yeah.
Padres doing.
I thought you said you're gonna stay off Twitter, dude.
I did. I didn't look it up. I have no idea who it is.
One of you
Cash
guys-
Mayfield.
Yeah.
We got another one.
What is that, 4 or 5?
4.
Four on the board.
Wow.
And the funny part is, we thought it was gonna be on fire after the first 7 picks.
Yeah. Well, it still kind of was. It still kind of is on fire.
The thing is with mocks is like every single year it's an exercise in futility.
Yep.
That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get one team that wants to save a little bit of value, and it just completely throws everything in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the weird thing with Mayfield. It's really old for the class. 19 years, 5 months. He's really, really old.
Yeah.
But it's super projectable, really easy delivery. Like you look at the film and it looks like he's playing catch at like 92, 95.
Yeah.
Really good changeup. I think somebody's put a plus grade on it, and there's the slider's really looking well too. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good pick, and it really does fit the Padres MO. And I don't have to eat my pants.
Yeah. So we're at a positive.
That's good.
We got the
That's
Yankees
good.
next.
But also bad.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying it's unfortunate. No pants eating.
Does it? Would I have had to eat like a certain pair of pants, or like the ones I'm wearing right now?
Yeah, it was,
Specifically.
would it just be raw? Like, would they be cooked, steamed? Like, I'm trying to understand like how one would eat pants.
It'd be raw, and I'd be drinking Chardonnay to go with it.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. With a coffee chaser, of course.
Yeah, we still have the coffee in here too.
We do have a copy in here.
It's not the one I like, but I'll still do it as a chaser.
What's been the biggest shock pick for you so far?
Braylon Payne,
Braylon Payne.
Milwaukee.
That's
That was the biggest one I wasn't really expecting. Because like for me, that was a pick that makes sense in like the second round.
Yeah.
Like I like Payne as a prospect, but I didn't think he had first round viability to him. But Milwaukee's got the draft value to make it happen. They got the money to make it happen. Like it's shocking, but it makes sense at the same time.
Yeah. I think for me,
I mean, they've got to pick what at 34.
Yeah.
So I mean they're gonna have to spend some money in the first 40 picks. So I'm sure they're thinking, hey, if we get a guy that we feel pretty good about, but maybe we can save a little bit of money on, that'll help us later in the draft.
Yeah.
I've been saying this for months in the chat, in the Prospects Live chat. Joey Oki 34.
Yeah. I like it. I think the big shock for me is Chase Burns at 3, not because of talent, but I thought Charlie Condon was a lock.
Yeah,
to be
I
a
did
red.
too.
That's the only reason.
We bet on that hard.
Yeah.
I had someone ask me who I thought the best player in the draft was. I actually think it is Burns.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a guy who threw 100 innings last year, but he was pumping 100 in the regionals on the road, East Carolina, in a crazy game.
Mhm.
Again, we're talking about stamina. This is, and I hate to speak poorly on Hagen Smith, but here's a guy who for 3 straight years he hit like 75 innings pitched, and it seemed like his trajectory really decreased. His freshman year, he went to the bullpen and he did well against Oklahoma State. His second year, he got beat up pretty bad at TCU in the regional. His third year, he got beat up pretty bad versus Kansas State in the regional. So it kind of felt like he was a guy who was like, oh wow, like what's his shelf life in terms of like inning pitched? But then you see a guy like Burns who's at 100 and he's pumping 100 in inning 100. So that was a guy for me. He was like, okay, if there's someone that right now, who would I say, and less than 360 days to be in, I would say it'd be Burns.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you mentioned it too with the longevity with Hagen. Like we mentioned the 17 strikeout game where he had 78 pitches in 6 innings and he got pulled after that. And that's kind of like where the threshold was for him this year was like the 6 inning mark.
They did that on purpose. They did it on. They said it multiple times. Like, hey, we were trying to save him for the regional, but then I don't know if y'all were watching the SEC tournament, but he was pumping like 92, 93, and everyone was worried about him. Like, hey, does he have arm issues? And like the thought was maybe he's just tired. And then it kind of showed its head again against Kansas State. So it's kind of like I mean. I don't want to speak out of turn, but it just kind of felt like he was getting tired around like 75 innings pitched all three years.
Yeah. I think you're spot on with that too. And like with Chase Burns, like he was going There's a stretch where he struck out like 13 plus in like 5 straight games or something.
Yeah, it was stupid.
And was going like 7, 8. Like it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Even if you have some concerns about like the delivery, like yes, it's a lot of recoil, but he throws strikes.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing, and he held everything really well too. So I think he passed that test in that regard for me.
Yeah.
And just like the slider had like a 60+ whiff rate.
Silly. And he only had to throw 2 pitches, but he has more in the tank. Like it'll be interesting to see what happens when he's starting to throw in that changeup, starting to throw more of that curve. Like when he's really going to more of a 4-pitch mix, because you've got guys like Skeens, who was again a fastball slider guy, and then he goes to the pros and he gets this like turbo splitter. Like, you know, it's just interesting to see what happens when they kind of add in this next step. It looks like the Yankees are going right now.
Yeah.
I don't like the Yankees, so I'm going to talk over it. But like you mentioned Skeens and the splinker that we want to call it.
Yeah.
Chase Burns could probably learn that too, because I think the changeup as it is nothing more than average.
Yeah.
Oh, here's your guy.
Ben Head.
Holy
This is a guy Tyler has been discussing all mock, all week. Give us your insight. The newest New York Yankee, Ben Hess.
He's got a shave.
Hess came in at number 63 on our board, for what it's worth, Yankees fans. 63. Injury concerns. Tyler, take it away.
Can I get my jaw up from the floor first?
Yeah.
Please. I think we all know how much I like Ben Hess.
Yeah. Great dude.
I went and wrote a full-on piece about him last winter for a reason, because I think he's really good. I did not expect this.
No.
I think it probably speaks for itself with the kind of stuff it is. Like, fastball reaches 99, it's flat, it has carry, it works well. I think the comp I had for it was like a 2022 Chase Dolander kind of pitch, just with less like flatness to it compared to what it was last year. Because like the similarities are pretty close. Like the shape is pretty similar with the ride and run, being pretty similar in like the 17 to 14 kind of like threshold. I think it was like a -4.5 vertical approach angle, and Dalanders is like a 3.8 or something.
Big dude though.
Very like built like
It's
a
not
tank.
215.
Yeah. And like the curveball is really good. I think the slider got better this year. Changeup's been good. The biggest thing for me with Hess was he just got lit up in SEC play this year.
Yes,
and it really, I thought it was not going to help him, but
no. Yeah.
I had definitely wrong on that. And I'm kind of glad, because I did write him as like a first rounder last year, and here we are. It's happened.
I'm going to let the more entertaining Drew Wheeler fill in for me for the Phillies pick while I take a little break. So he's going to be joining in. I'll be back.
Kind of a portal tidbit. You almost kind of wonder what Alabama would have looked like if him and Holman would have been the 1-2 Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
So
That
a guy who left Bama to go to LSU.
That would have been a very fascinating 1-2 to have.
One of the top JUCO guys who came, Gage Miller. So, I mean, they would have had, and they also had the center fielder from Ole Miss. I don't know why his name is this. Yeah. So, I mean, they had a great team this year, but it's almost like what would it have been if they would have kept their Friday night guy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jared Perkins.
I'm glad we can crack jokes while we're also doing all of this too.
It's
like,
nice.
It's an up tempo, high energy kind of room we got going on here. I love it.
Can we give a shout out to Tony V on the television also? My man is just outstanding. I'm so glad that he is here in Texas. There's an off chance I can meet Tony Vitello tonight.
Oh, lovely.
I'm
There
just
is.
kind of realizing that would be wild.
But,
Y'all wouldn't be able to tell me nothing this week.
oh yeah, no, you would not show up for Vitello the rest of the week if you met him,
I know. It'd be wild.
which I like. I like that.
Take us in.
So we do have Brody Brecht here.
That's really the direction I hope we go. I mean, dude, Flaherty from BA said that the slider on Brecht was hellacious, and I don't want to really incur that sort of vernacular here, but I mean, it's got sickening bite. I mean, I think short of, Burns, probably the best slider in the collegiate class.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to go about there, and it's like could be 70 grade if everything works out. Strikes are obviously a big concern, but he kind of showed a bit more down the stretch. Like the strikes got a little bit better, and if that's going to lead to some more games on that side, I think he's pretty good.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, he went up against
I'm not gonna be
LSU
happy.
in what
I don't want.
2022,
Please quit spoiling it.
2023.
I'm going to be upset. I know what I don't want at all.
What's that?
I don't want to say it because then I'm going to have to be sad on stream.
Do we have to get the Chardonnay out for you instead of Jared?
I don't drink. Y'all just have to slap
Okay.
me or something.
That's a happy Oakland fan right there.
Those people look great. Look at those people. They're so happy. Look at so many Phillies fans.
They're ready
God
for
bless
that
you
pick.
people.
They're ready for it.
Am I ready for it? How sad am I going to be right now?
See.
1 to 10.
What? No, it's not.
Okay, well then it's
You're
not the
good there.
worst case scenario.
Interesting.
I was looking it up.
Don't look it up.
No, I'm just trying to
live in
find
the moment with me.
This is an
Can
interesting
I
one.
get whole handholds, please? Okay, not mad. A little shocked, but not mad. Not at all what I expected. Limited research on me for Nori. So, can I sit under the learning tree, boys? Tell me about Dante
I'll leave
Nori.
that one to Tyler.
Yeah, never saw Dante Nori, but it's a cold weather bat that he's very old for the class. It's like 19 years, 8 months, Mississippi State commit. Because if I say that wrong, I'm gonna get drawn slaughtered in the Egg Bowl this year. He's interesting. He's built like a brute. His dad, I think, is the assistant coach on the Minnesota Timberwolves.
All right.
I could be mistaken on that, but I think it's a hit over power kind of tool set. He's probably a center fielder at the next level.
Okay.
I never really liked Nori overall, just because of the age and the physicality. Like he's very, very maxed out for his size. His forearms are what we like to call thunderous.
I like that. I like that word, but I'm not going to lie to you. Not at all the direction that I thought we'd go, especially considering the
142nd on the board.
Yeah, can you stop with that? I do think that I mean the Phillies lately have been such a pitching powerhouse, right? Like developing pitchers and turning like pitchers in college pitchers specifically with questionable attributes into, I mean, studs. I was really hoping for Brody Brecht here, and I'm not going to hide my disappointment. I mean, Nori sounds cool. I bet he shoots a mean jumper, but I'm really concerned about what he does on the baseball field. And I'd love to eat crow or Tyler's pants on that, as it were.
I definitely ate crow on this because I did really rank Nori at like 140 or something.
What was it? 142?
Yeah, I dropped the ball on that one.
I had him at 80. Great speed. I mean, it's interesting to see it. Almost, you got 27 picks, and you got what 2, 3, 4 guys who just have incredible speed. So, it seems as though maybe baseball is shifting back a little bit to the small ball speed aspect.
Yeah,
maybe
that's a good point. I can respect that point for sure, and I appreciate you bringing that up for sure. I don't know. I can't be mad, and I mean you got to trust the guys in charge. I mean, you guys seem like you're saying there's some positives here.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah,
like they Phillies do have a good development team.
Thank you. I said that like I have anything to do with it at all.
I think as Mercadante said, if you ever feel as though you're questioning the picks, just say, "Hey, these guys have put a lot into it. Like they know what
These
they're
guys
doing."
have put a lot into
100%.
it.
Yeah,
I'm not one to say the Phillies scouts are wrong in any shape, way, or form. I know a few of them, and they're all very nice.
I have no doubt. I'm excited to see myself proven wrong. It's happened. I mean, generally speaking, I'm only right like once a week in any facet of my life, so I expect this to be, much of the same.
I'm usually right like once in a month, but apparently got 4 right today. So I don't.
You guys
there
are
you
on a
go.
roll. You guys had a really good
I
stretch.
want
there for me.
5. I would love 5 to like just round it out.
I'm kind of worried of what the Astros do here
We
too.
were talking about this earlier. Are you heading out?
I probably should dip. I think that you guys would be behooved to have Greg on again. Thank you everybody for watching. Hope you're enjoying the stream.
I with the Phillies are what like 27th out of 30 though when it comes to the purse. So maybe this was an attempt to save a little bit of money.
I think so.
Yeah. Get a guy they like down in the lower
And that way
100s.
they
or
can
low.
get more guys they like in the later picks. Oh,
Yeah.
Janet, here's our catcher.
Walker. We called this one.
Is it Janik?
Yeah.
Here's Janet.
We called this one. We're 5. We got 5. We got 5. Let's go.
I love how we're also giving analysis and also cheering on our Malik that was dead before arrival tonight.
I mean, you're at 16.6%. Is that right?
5 to 28.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Yep. We saw the Houston connection, the Texas connection. Thought that Walker Janik fell right into this spot.
We also did think Malcolm Moore will be off the board at this point. So
yeah,
Janik being the first catcher
that's interesting itself.
off the board is pretty fascinating, personally.
Yeah.
And like I think the thing with him, like, there's a lot of guys that thought he may have been a third baseman coming into the year last year.
Yeah.
He's really turned it around. And I think many people think he's going to be a solid catcher at the next level. Really good arm. I think it's above average plus, can be an average defender behind the plate. And the hit tool and the power kind of turned the corner this year, too. I think the hit tool got a little bit better. Hitting in the Southland is obviously not like, there's a lot more pressure on that. Like, you think about Chase DeLauder, where you expect him to hit 400 to be like a top 10 pick in this draft year. Janik didn't necessarily do that, but he improved in all other facets of his game to where it's like he's put himself into that upper echelon of college catchers, and now he's the first one off the board.
Yeah, I love it. I like the pick for the Astros. I mean, you're at the point of the draft where you're kind of getting guys you want, right?
Yeah.
Better than best available. And I love this.
And we mentioned bonus pool. They have the lowest amount of money available in the pool in the entire draft, under $6 million. This is basically 60% of their entire draft pool right here.
Yeah.
How much of a haircut are we getting?
Yeah. That's question.
Maybe,
That's
yeah. I mean, but you're talking about a guy who was a top 50 bat in college as a catcher. You know, kind of that comment, and you just don't really see that too frequently, where you've got a catcher who's also one of the best hitters in college baseball.
Absolutely.
We got some news out of Royals land. Jack Caglianone says the Royals will take the same approach to allowing him to pitch and hit as Florida did.
Huh. So what I'm hearing is it's going to be 89-93 in the playoffs.
Yep.
Sorry, I had to make the joke because he was pitching against my college team in the College World Series. So, like, I did notice that right off the rip, and then he hit a bomb off of Dom Fritton. So.
Yeah.
Interesting. That was that came from Royals Review. I guess that they're doing the press conference.
They have to be.
Yeah. So, interesting to see there.
This is also where Arizona gets fancy. They have 3 picks in the next 6 slots here.
Mm-hmm.
Who do we have at 29?
Kellen Lindsay.
29. Kellen Lindsay. So
great night for that College World Series.
Caldwell could be the pick here.
Yeah.
We can give you a half credit for that.
Yeah. So if we get it right, do we get half?
But see, Cespedes Barbecue has their rankings out, and if we don't get half credit there, does it really count here? I can ask Jordan.
I'd text him and ask.
Okay.
I will say that if those guys pass it, who am I to say no? Possibly the nicest dudes on the planet.
Oh yeah, that's very true. The Cespedes Barbecue guys, met them yesterday. Very cool dudes.
Incredible dudes.
Tremendous fellas. They may as well be Southerners with how nice they are.
Southern hospitality. Yeah.
I'm willing to welcome them into the fold. And you guys also could have your Rangers pick correct. He is still on the board. So you could have 1.5
Lomavita?
So you have to. So
It'd be weird if Lomavita goes before more, though. That's my opinion.
It would be bizarre, in my opinion, for sure.
Oh, this is going to be fun. The Diamondbacks 3 picks here. I'm more excited about that than most of the draft right now.
Yeah. Ryan Sloan?
Yeah. You got Sloan, you got Wyatt, you got Slade Caldwell.
There's
Carter
a good chance
Johnson.
all 3 of these picks from Arizona are just all prep, like Seattle did last year.
Yeah. I would love that.
That would be expensive.
Where did they go? First one? Was it? Why don't I remember this?
Are you talking about the mock?
Is it the Diamondbacks? This is the Diamondbacks' first pick. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is their first pick.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm excited to see this. I hate the commercials because it's like the pick's in. So what
the celebrity softball game that happened last night.
Yeah.
Is the commercial we have on our screen right now.
Yeah. What do you mean? That's tomorrow.
So are you telling me we're playing the softball game tomorrow?
Yeah. That's what we're preparing for celebrity.
Do you want me to play center field?
Challenge you in.
Okay, cool.
What's your run tool?
I hope you know that.
What?
I can hold one though. It's in the gap.
Got gap power.
Yeah, he sees the Royals using him as a reliever.
Yeah. I think Cags is probably a reliever.
Yeah, I'm excited for him to just get right into action.
I'm very happy you've turned the corner on this pick. Because last night you were saying you did not want this to happen in a million years.
I know. But here I am, trying to be happy and excited.
He's one of those guys that a lot of times you see when they swing out of the zone, they just don't get as much pop. The amount of power that he has on pitches out of the zone is silly.
Yeah.
Because
He was
you
going-
see guys intentionally trying to walk him, and he'd hit like a changeup, like 6-8 inches below the zone, just completely
Slade
out of the park.
Caldwell. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No,
Slade Caldwell
please.
going 29. We got our
Half
guy.
credit? Half credit?
Half credit?
Almost
Half credit?
rebel.
Cool.
We got our guy Greg in the house who wrote up his prospect profile. I like it. I like it. Yeah, we got Greg coming in. Greg wrote up his prospect profile. We'll get this fixed here. What do you got on Caldwell for us?
I saw Caldwell play this year, and I was very impressed. He's very small. He's listed at 5'9". I don't think he's 5'9", but he's really well built. Like, he's very strong. So there's not a lot of projection there. Excellent center fielder, great reads on the ball, average arm. So I think he has a chance to stick in center, but it's really all about his bat. He's a leadoff type hitter, very good eye at the plate, controls the strike zone well, doesn't chase, and great contact rates.
Yeah.
So the power is maybe his least prominent tool, but he's kind of, I comped him to like a Corbin Carroll type player. Maybe not quite as electric as that, but I saw a play in particular where he was on second base. So he walked, stole second, and then there was a ground ball, like a chopper to second, and he scored from second base on that play. And there was no errors or anything. So it was instinct and speed. He's an impact player. So.
Yeah, I love it. The comp that I had for him was TJ Friedel. Someone that Friedel coming out of the college wasn't super powerful, but he found ways to tap into power. And I think what the D-backs try to see is if they can tap into any of that power. And if they can, they got a pretty good player.
Absolutely.
Awesome. What do we got next? Texas Rangers on the clock. What do we think? We had Caleb Lomavita.
We had Lomavita, and that's kind of interesting too. They don't have a ton of pool money to kind of work with, and I think they kind of go all out with this pick here. Like,
you said Janik or Lomavita. So if they go Lomavita or more, do we get half credit?
No.
Nah.
Because Janik's already off the board. We get half credit for one. We can't get half credit for the other.
Trying.
I think there's also a 20-minute break after this too.
Yep.
I could be mistaken on that. So we're free to answer any questions. And
yeah, feel free to throw questions in the chat. We have a couple, but they're all Royals related, which kind of are probably out the window now since the Royals made their pick. But we'll go through back to chat, see if there's any questions. Oh, your guy Monty Taylor's in here right now. When is Griff O'Farrell getting drafted, or is it, or the next ACC guy? I'm bored.
I know he's bored. He's an ACC guy at heart. I love him. I don't know. I think this is just mainly going to be high school stuff for the next few picks, and then kind of go from there. Like, obviously, we'll have Lomavita here if everything works out, and he is an ACC guy now, technically.
Yeah.
I get it. Are we calling it the All Coast Conference now?
I mean, and then the next ACC guy I have is Santucci. So at 38. So it may be a bit, but that's the next ACC guy I have.
Yeah. I mean, technically Malcolm Morrison, the best guy on our board, he's the ACC guy now.
We have Cozart.
Hey, Jacob Cozart. I like him.
Cozart and DiMartini.
DiMartini's very interesting.
So that could be where it's at. When do the Vols roll off the board? Josh Tatum.
Hasn't there already been? Like, Drew, that's a question for you.
Yeah. Drew, when are the Vols going off the board?
Josh already knows what I'm going to say. The Phillies flubbed that. I mean, any of them. Say a name. Throw a name at your dartboard. I'm sorry, I'm getting sour. Soon, Josh.
We've got Amick at 32, but seeing him live at the College World Series, it was kind of a little bit of a disappointment for him. I mean, they had a great, obviously, Omaha tournament. Of course, they won it, but he struggled a little bit there.
I still like my idea of like Dylan Dreiling being a comp pick.
Yeah,
I love him. Yeah, I thought he was phenomenal.
Yeah, like just came into the year, didn't really hit lefties at all, and now he was hitting like 600 during the playoffs. He had 400 overall against lefties this year, so he checked that right off the bat.
That's cool.
What
do we got? Texas is calling it in. Malcolm Moore.
It was captured.
18 on our board. He's fallen. Finally goes to the Texas Rangers.
Hey, Monty, that's the next ACC guy off the board.
Does that count?
Stanford is in the ACC now.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
I
was looking at my list, and I was like, no, Stanford's Pac-12. It just kind of blows the mind a little bit that Stanford is the Atlantic Coast Conference now.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. And I think like the thing with Stanford and Cal next year, because SMU doesn't have a baseball program, to my knowledge, at least anyways. I know they have a club team, but they don't have an actual team. The thing with like Stanford and Cal is I think they're going to have to take a heavy brunt of the travel the next couple of years, joining the ACC. That was the rumor I heard throughout the year. Whether or not that happens, I don't know. I don't think the schedules will really come out until like October or November after fall ball ends. But if everything stays, I think it's they would travel heavily for 2 years to the East Coast, and then there's a year in between where all the East Coast teams go out west. And I'm not sure specifics of how that would work, but like it just sounds like there would be like maybe a 2 week stretch where like Cal plays in Pittsburgh, comes down to Carolina or something, goes back home, maybe comes back 2 weeks later or something. I don't know the full thing, but
yeah,
that would probably make the most sense if you want to try and alleviate some travel concerns for some of your student athletes.
Yeah, I mean they made these decisions based upon football, which they play once a week. I think you're talking about baseball where they may play 5 times a week, 3 times on the weekend, and then like a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday game. Like I couldn't even imagine flying 3,000 miles and playing 5 games. I mean and then trying to also be a student athlete at the same time, especially for a school like Stanford.
Because their education's insane.
Yeah.
Like, and I think the biggest thing too, like the football carrying everything. I get it, obviously, because that's a big money producer for everybody. Like, I think there's no lie in that whatsoever. Being a fan of one of the lesser, like, I don't want to say lesser sports, but like it's obviously not on the same tier as what football and basketball are with baseball. Just really saps the life out of everything, really.
Yeah.
It kind of does.
Yeah.
And there's intrigue where you get to see new guys and get to see new teams, but now you're also having to deal with the fact that like there's going to be an 8 a.m. first pitch between Cal and Duke next year, probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're going to have to watch 8 a.m., 10 a.m. games.
Those Sunday games where they have to be done by 2 p.m. at the on the Sunday, and so they'll be starting it at noon. So you're wow.
That's going to be such a weird dynamic to work with next year.
Yeah.
I also cannot wait for the Rutgers UCLA game this year.
Yeah.
In football, that's going to be interesting. I don't know if they have announced the start time for that yet, but I want to see what it is.
No.
Let me see if there actually is a start time for it.
It's exciting for some of those teams that were in the Pac-12 that used to be Pac-12 at night, because they would be those games that would start like 10, 11 at Central, and they just wouldn't have many eyes on them, and now they'll have a lot more.
I will miss Pac-12 after dark, because that was one of the most insane and stupid things, but it was also so fun at the same time.
Yeah, you like wake up and you'd assume that one team had won and be like, oh my gosh, they scored 28 straight. Never mind.
Yeah. We are finished with the round one. Into the comps.
Yep.
Do we have 20 minutes breaks, or is it after the comps that there's a 20-minute break?
No, I think it's after the first round itself.
Okay.
Like the first round and the comps are separate.
All right. Well, we can get to some questions.
Vandy baseball better than Vandy football. I think that's a pretty good assertion.
Yeah.
Sorry, Vanderbilt fans. As the good old Matt, or what's the name of the guy? Matt something that makes FCC skits. I can't remember his name. I enjoy watching him all the time because it's so funny. But he always downplays the Vandy broke guys, and it's just I hate it for Vandy fans personally, because like the campus itself is beautiful.
Yeah,
it is a very cool campus. Like the Parthenon is right across the street from one of the halls, and I'm just like, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's also just hard because how often are you going to beat Bama and Auburn and all of these like football programs that just launch absurd amounts of money? You almost have to say to yourself, like, what's our return on investment Like we'd have
Yeah.
to just put absurd amounts of money in order to try to get within some sort of like, I don't know, weight class of those other individuals. So it's like, hey, maybe we should just focus on baseball.
Yeah. I also just mind the Rutgers football schedule next year, or this spring rather, fall. One of the things, I can't remember what season it is. So UCLA does play it in Piscataway on October 19th. And then on the 25th, Friday, they have to go to USC. Like they have to travel all the way out there.
That's
That's
crazy.
nuts.
That I think I kind of blow my brains out on that a little bit. If I'm just
we got a question here in the chat. Let's see. Rays fans here. What's the story behind Theo Gillen? Rays definitely love shortstop prospects.
The big thing with Gillen is, well, he's also not a shortstop prospect anymore. He's a center fielder at this point. Excuse the stutter, people. The biggest thing is the bat. I think the bat is pretty advanced and probably it carries most of the weight with his profile, and he's got the frame to kind of build into power. Doesn't have a good arm, but he has the athleticism, he has the speed, he has everything to kind of check the boxes as an outfielder and be a pretty darn good one. Tampering Tony.
Yeah.
I just saw that.
But yeah, that's the full story for me on him.
Love it. Most teams are lucky to get 20% of their picks to play at MLB level. What are some traits that stand out in analysis that translate to success? How do you assess intangibles like work ethic, compete?
Ooh, that's a tough question because that's really kind of going into how you evaluate.
Yeah.
And everyone evaluates differently. Because everybody's going to have their thing that they kind of look at. Like, for example, the data guys you see on Twitter are going to look at data, find their pinpoints, like a high carry fastball in the pitcher, or like chase rate and the contact rate and everything, and the power, and go off that. And I kind of do the same. I look for like the high contact, low chase kind of guys. I think they find the most success because they don't. For example, like you look at Caglianone, who could struggle with breaking balls as he gets to like AA or something because he chases so much.
Yeah.
Tommy White's kind of the same example, and I kind of do worry about that a little bit. But another thing, I kind of look for like flat out athleticism.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the first thing that comes to my mind is like how athletic a guy is, how easy does the game come to him, whether it be at the plate or on the mound. Like thinking of somebody yesterday, Ethan Holiday, when we saw him at the home run derby, stupidly easy power to generate from that swing. Like it was pretty effortless. That's immediately something that stands out to me once I see a guy kind of like swing the bat, see how everything kind of comes on. And it kind of makes scouting BP a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But it's also like it's kind of tough just like make an evaluation based on BP or like 6 plate appearances or something because it's too small of a sample. With pitchers, I look for the ease of operation, the kind of stuff that you look for, like with the fastball, what's the approach angle? Is it flatter? You're going to find more success with a flatter fastball. Hagen, Smith, Chase Dolan, those guys that miss bats at a very high clip.
Yeah.
And kind of like how's the breaking ball? Does he spin it well? Does he locate it well? Can he command it? Like, can you land it consistently for chases and consistently get those chases? Is that something you can do?
Yeah.
And that's going to vary between guys. Like you could have a really good fastball, but you can't spin a breaking ball. You're kind of done.
Yeah.
Perfect example of someone I could think of on that level, like Jake Clemente before he went to Florida, had a really good fastball, was hitting 94, 96 at NHSI, but he couldn't spin a breaker, and now he's at college. And he's performed pretty well recently too. So yeah, it's a lot of things. Those are just some of the things I look for, and everybody's different. Everyone's different. Like you could go to Joe Doyle and make a different thing. By the way, Ryan Waldschmidt, 31 to Arizona. I thought there was more of a break here.
We interviewed Ryan Waldschmidt. Check it out on Clock on YouTube.
Waldschmidt's really good.
Yeah, that's a great pick there.
This is like, there's a very good mold of clay here. And even if you kind of wonder, like Kentucky did get caught cheating a little bit this year. I don't think that hampers them whatsoever.
Yeah.
All right, you talk about a program that just really develops players. It's right now, Kentucky is one of those. I mean, when you look at their program at the beginning of 2024 and said, where are they projected? I don't think anyone would have put them in Omaha as the number 2 seed.
No.
So, I mean, it's really, I've got a program that's literally come to me and said, hey, we're just trying to follow the Kentucky portal model because they just seem to find the players from the programs that just fit their mold, and then they come in and produce. They really don't swing and miss a lot.
Yeah, 2 outfielders, Slade Caldwell, Ryan Waldschmidt,
and they're not all prep either.
Nope.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
And I like with Waldschmidt, I've talked to a few guys where like the next level of his game still hasn't really been tapped into yet.
Yeah.
It's a really good hit tool. He's got burgeoning power. Doesn't like we talk about how we evaluate guys like high contact, low chase. That's essentially what Waldschmidt is. Really good end zone contact. Begin to tap in more into the power. I think somebody put a Ryan Schimpf comp on him in our group chat a couple of weeks ago, and like I see it, but I think with Waldschmidt, he's probably a left fielder at the next level. But there's so much, not athleticism, but potential in there that hasn't been tapped into yet. And I think he could be one of the guys that could just absolutely blossom in an Arizona system.
He was the second place player on our board. Griffo Farrell.
Hey, Monty, there he goes.
There we go. We got an ACC guy. Love this pick, by the way. You can go for it. I'm going to get this video up.
Griffo Farrell is like the, I don't want to say Merrick Houston, kind of. Like, I think that's the first comp that comes to mind when you're looking at a guy in next year's class.
Yeah.
But Griffo Farrell hits everything. He doesn't whiff whatsoever. I think the weekend I saw him against Duke, he had like 1 whiff over the whole weekend across like 60 pitches.
Yeah.
Really good hit tool. He is aggressive, and that might hamper him a little bit. But like, I really do like the overall tool set here. And I thought he wasn't a shortstop coming into the year. He's a shortstop.
Yep. I saw him a few times too out at Virginia, and like Tyler said, he hits everything. He literally will fight to the death before you put him away. And he doesn't walk a ton.
No, he doesn't.
He hits at like a 400 clip, basically. Yeah. And so he's just very talented. Like Kyle said, can stick at shortstop defensively. Power you want to see a little bit more of, but I love this pick for the Orioles.
I don't think power is ever going to be a thing with his game.
No, not at all.
Probably 40 max. Yeah. But I don't think you necessarily need to be a powerful guy when you have the defensive chops to stick at shortstop and have the hit tool to kind of go with it. Like, yeah, I think he's honestly fine, and it's a good haul for Baltimore. That's a good one too with Honeycutt and O'Farrell. Like staying in the ACC, getting proven guys. Yeah. But you kind of go to the complete opposite now. Yeah. Like one guy can't hit but has really good power, but now this guy can hit but has no power.
Yeah. Put them together and you got one great player.
Exactly.
I think the one thing too that I compared him to is kind of like a Nick Lofton with a better hit tool. He gets a lot more barrels. Like Lofton struggles to make like hard contact, and Griffo Farrell does such a better job at doing that. And so I think that's where you're looking at a pretty decent, talented guy right there.
Absolutely. It's good. That's a good way to put it.
Jason, you got any thoughts?
This pairs well with a question we just got of like, how do you view individuals beyond just their metrics? I think this is a perfect example of someone that has a lot of things that go beyond just like the 5 or 6 things that people usually put numbers to. A guy that you just know will fit in with any program that he jumps into.
Woo! Kyle DeBarge to the Twins at 33.
That's a good pick.
That's a Tyler fun pick.
I like that pick a lot.
Yeah.
Speaking of elite shortstop from college.
Back-to-back really good shortstops too.
Yeah.
Do we have DeBarge? I don't think we have.
He's in 40s. I don't have footage of him. I have it somewhere. I haven't got to it yet.
Okay.
Gotcha. I'm just so far behind on that footage.
Yeah.
I really am. But seeing DeBarge in person, like, I think he's a really good runner. So, like, I probably put a plus run tool on him. Stays at shortstop, pretty good arm. I think the thing this year, like last year, he was more of like a hit over power kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, he tapped more into that power and started like chasing a bit more, like kind of selling out a little bit, but still hit 355, 21 home runs for a guy that's like 6 flat, like 180, I think is what he is or something.
He's pretty tiny. He's like
5'9",
5'9".
25 is what we got.
I was
on.
nowhere close to that.
I mean,
think
I
he
say
got
tiny.
there.
He's just not taller.
Yeah. But like, it's a powder keg kind of athlete. And I genuinely do like the pick here.
Yeah.
Because when I saw him, he was one of the best pass on that Louisiana team.
Yeah. We got
they had 2 great players, him and Langevin LP.
Yeah.
The 2 guys I really liked. No, they had a great program. I think I had him as the number 1 shortstop for last year. So I really like this guy. I like this pick.
Yeah. I'm trying. There was Louisiana fans that were in my mentions about LP Langevin early on because he threw 5 perfect innings through Coastal when I saw him. Fastball is absolutely electric. It was like a 46% whiff rate this year. I don't know if I can actually say it on the stream, to be honest, because it's kind of derogatory. But I'll let you guys at home figure out what LP stands for if you want to get your mind dirty a little bit. Yeah. So
he's not your normal bullpen guy. Who the bullpen guy for Texas A&M, Evan, I can't remember how to say his last name, starts with an A. Apologies.
or something.
Yeah, Oschenbeck, thank you. Both of those guys, multi-inning, multi-time per weekend, put up a lot of innings, just didn't really, wasn't a guy who had more than 5 games started, but just really impacts every single weekend that he would play in. Who y'all seeing?
Blake Burke off the board. Milwaukee Brewers at 34.
That is a unique pick.
That is interesting.
I love it. Honestly, I love it.
I kind of don't hate this at all. Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a guy who just like eats, sleeps, dreams 110 mile per hour exit velo. Like this guy, everything it felt like he touched was just absurd velocity. I remember again. I keep going back to the Fort Worth. This is another guy I saw in Fort Worth. It felt like everything he was touching was 105 plus.
Yeah,
I like this guy a lot.
We got a resident Tennessee fan here to join us back, Drew Wheeler. Drew, how you doing today?
Hi, man. Doing much better since the last time you've seen me. Hi, kids. Do you like exit velocity? If you do, big fan. I think in my top 50, I said that Tennessee's offense was just a bunch of hungry power merchants, and that's kind of apt for Burke, isn't it? I mean, certainly a corner, probably a first baseman exclusively, even if there's any defensive value there. From the fantasy perspective, you're buying the bat though, and I mean, boy, what a bat! It's going to take a guy about as strong as Burke to carry that big old bat. I'm excited, and even from the first base perspective, look at that bounce off.
But he swung.
Beautiful footage here. Who shot this?
Tyler.
I don't know. It's some random person. I don't know.
We got to get that guy a raise. He's doing wonderful work. Outstanding stuff. But no, very excited. Obviously, got to give a shout out to Blake Burke. Got to give a shout out to the whole University of Tennessee Volunteers. They're the national champions this year. Did you guys know that?
Can we get a GBO in the chat?
Listen to this guy. Get this guy more money. Add Smata. Can we get a GBO in the chat? There's plenty of you in there. I need to see some GBOs. Somebody. I'm not leaving until I see a GBO.
You want me to put it in there for you?
No.
That feels cheap.
It does. It very much does.
I feel like the term sneaky athleticism gets overused, but I feel like Blake Burke is the definition of sneaky athleticism. I feel like did he lead Tennessee in stolen bases? Am I making up that stat? He had some absurd amount of stolen bases, and he's a much better defensive first baseman than that you would potentially assume upon first glance.
Right. Certainly not exclusively power. I do think you're right about that, by the way. In the mix for the stolen base crown for the Vols, if not, the one. Diamondbacks pick is in?
Yep. JD Dix.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wake Forest is not going to be happy about that one.
147 on the board.
Yeah, I'll take the L on that one. He didn't really have a good summer last year.
Yeah.
Dix did not have a good summer last year. And I kind of do hold my evaluations in person kind of heavy a little bit. It just wasn't really all that great last year personally, but he did turn around to spring from the reports that we heard. Wisconsin's like a sneaky good, like prep rich area. They just never keep anybody because Wisconsin doesn't have a baseball team.
Yeah.
So like I think he was originally committed to Alabama, then he decommitted, went to Wake. He like previously he was a fantastic bat in the prep class. I think he's a switch hitter with legitimate tools. I think he plays shortstop. I don't hate this. I think this is probably where the overslot comes in a little bit for him. Maybe, if not Slade, because I think Washington's going to give you some savings. I don't know if JD will. This is an interesting combo of pages.
Can't wait to see that number for sure.
Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to the man to my direct right here, 64 Analytics. You called it. I was worried about Curly challenging Burke, but Greg with the save over there. Burke with 11 steals to Curly's 9. Hey,
it's one of those things like you're like, hey, I wouldn't have anticipated it. I mean, he's again, it doesn't scream stolen base, but yeah, 11 on the year.
I got you a high five right here.
Oh, wait, I'm this way.
Hey, thanks again, guys.
Yeah.
Amazing stream. Have to give you guys a ton of credit.
Thanks, man.
You guys are hanging in there. Can we get you anything? Drinks?
We're good. We just hit over 3,000 viewers.
Wow, 3,002 people watching through the night.
Thank you all for joining us.
Work.
In the comp rounds, we're just going.
Yeah.
36th pick is in.
People left after they saw that. Probably like, let's get him.
The one person was like, "I'll make it worse for them."
Greg, there's your guy. I'm going to swap out with Greg. I'm going to let Greg come talk. Thanks everybody for watching.
I'm still enamored with Greg's Condon comment about playing in Colorado. I mean, there's some stadiums where you got like Wake Forest where it's 300 down right field line. You got Georgia where it's like 340, 350 down the left field. And he was just hitting no doubter after no doubter. So if he's doing that in a massive left field at Georgia, what is he going to do at elevation?
Here's the question, didn't he have massive splits this year?
I don't know.
Home and away.
He may have.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as egregious as we thought it would be.
Okay.
As some people try to put it whenever the whole like camera cheating thing happened with A&M in Georgia or whatever happened there.
Yeah.
Most Colorado hitters have massive splits anyway, so it wouldn't be anything.
That's surprising. I like Brennan Daly to the Guardians quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's a good fit. Like
very good fit.
Pitching development org.
Yeah, and he's like a low 90s guy with two different fastballs, but the breaking balls are the best of the two. I think the slider's better. Curveball has similar spin in 3,000 range. Came out of area code last year, which is throwing curveballs at 84. Yeah, there's a lot to like with that kind of profile.
Yeah.
He's got a good changeup. It's 4-pitch mix. That's a sneaky good get for them.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Pick is in for the Pirates. They seem excited.
I like how they're all wearing
Hawaiian
shirts.
Very festive.
I kind of like that.
You think they got Sloan? Is that why they're so excited?
Maybe. There's got to be a story behind this.
Yeah.
And we can't hear it.
No. Have too much background noise.
So Conor Griffin's their first pick, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Conor Griffin was their first. We'll see what they go. Will they go another prep, you think? Because they're gonna have to spend some money on Griffin.
That stage is sweet.
That is a really cool stage, to be honest.
I do know this one. It is another prep.
Interesting.
Wow.
There's my boy. He was my favorite prep arm on the summer circuit last year.
Yeah.
The third
like showed up at
Texas guy
PDP
off the board.
Yeah. Like showed up at PDP, just shoved, looked really good. Came in as a bat.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. Some guys thought he could be a legit bat. Didn't look good as a bat, but then he came on the mound and shoved like 3 scoreless innings in PDP play. Which like that's the max you usually get for a PDP arm anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But I really, really enjoyed it. He's
another Texas commit.
Yeah, Texas is getting destroyed, unfortunately. I hear that and I go after from over here.
Yeah.
I did a listing of the schools that had the most commits, like within the draft database. I think Texas was like 4th or 5th. So they got a lot of high school guys going. LSU had, I think, 17 players. Yeah, it's pretty wild. They had 4 portal guys, I think 1 or 2 JUCO guys, and then just a ton of high school guys.
Like the Pirates are done.
Yeah.
So now that Levi Sterling is with the Pirates, Thomas Harrington?
What about him?
He kind of reminds me of Thomas Harrington a little bit.
I like that.
Like kind of similar sinking fastball, has the changeup to go with it. Thomas Harrington's changeup was good.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got field of spin. Like that kind of feels like a Thomas Harrington thing. And Harrington's turned into a really good Pittsburgh Pirate, to be honest. Love my Campbell guys to death.
I'm smelling Tommy White.
Oh my God, that'd be funny.
I'm smelling it.
What do we got?
Brody.
Whoa.
I don't think I've ever been more excited to be wrong in my life.
Whoa.
That's a place to be for Brody Bragg.
Oh my goodness.
Let's get the film.
Awesome.
Well, it's just they're not. Yeah,
Brody Brecht, you are a Colorado Rocky, 38th pick. Brett pitcher.
That is such a weird fit.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't follow the sort of like the Rockies kind of value the low VAA guys.
Yeah.
Like Dolander, Sean Sullivan. There's a few others in there from recent years that kind of come to mind. Like Gabe Hughes was kind of a low VAA guy.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're just trying to diversify their talent.
I think so. And like, I don't know why. I kind of feel more positive about their pitching development more recently. I just want to see Brett kind of get more into his delivery and not be as stiff as he is for
You can see it right here in the video.
Yeah, like he's a really good athlete, but it's really stiff down the mound.
Yeah.
The fastball kind of purely misses bats based off of velocity at this point, and the command's not good, but like that's a really good 1-2 punch with a splitter. He's kind of learning to command a little bit. Like
It's amazing he throws that hard with that windup.
yeah, the arm action in this too has changed from what it is now. Because he went through like 4 different arm swings this year, I think. Yeah, that's a really weird pick.
Yeah.
Probably the best way I could put it. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him.
Has he had any injuries in his past?
I don't think so.
Interesting. Love it.
I see the 94 to 97 that was up on there. I thought he was pumping 98 to 100 last year, not this year, but did he have some reduction in velocity?
He was very tired at this point because this was like last weekend of June, first weekend of July. Yeah. So he had already had like 100 plus innings on his arm at this point. But like you're not wrong. He did hit a hundo a few times last year, and like I don't know how many times he hit it this year, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I saw him live versus LSU. I want to say it was in Dallas of 22 or 23. And I mean, he kind of carved up Cruz. I mean, I remember seeing that. I mean, like, oh my gosh, like this guy's going to be a top 5, top 10 pick this year, but it just didn't really materialize.
This is the last pick for us on the live stream. We have made it. Caleb Lomavita, Mr. 39, going to the Washington Nationals. What do we got on Caleb?
Very aggressive.
Yeah.
Very, very aggressive. Doesn't walk at all. He had like 12 walks this year. Chase rate's closer to like 35-40%, which kind of like makes me iffy, but it's like a raw tool set. Really good power. Probably will not hit for much at the next level, but who knows? Maybe the Nationals can kind of work on that because they have guys that fit that mold too. Like Morales kind of comes to mind a little bit. Seaver King, the first pick, kind of comes to mind a lot too. It's an interesting fit.
Yeah.
Very interesting fit. I think the biggest thing is like the tools behind the plate. Yeah, I think he's a legitimate catcher.
Yeah.
But like raw power's there. I think he's got the tool set to kind of turn into a star, but he just really doesn't hit.
Yeah. I love it. Well, that kind of wraps it up for us, right?
Yeah. I mean,
that's it. I mean, we can't thank you all 3,055 of you who joined us. To Devin Mesoraco, to Jason, Greg, Zumak. Thank you all, guys, for joining us to make this stream what it is today. We didn't think we'd be doing this live from Fort Worth, Texas, right outside the draft. This has been awesome, just an awesome experience for all of us. We'll probably have one more episode, just kind of wrapping up the draft, give out some of our thoughts once it's all over. But Drew, Greg, crushed it on the social media for us. Thanks for coming on to hop on and talk about the Blue Jays pick, the Phillies pick, to
GBO picks.
Yeah, like Tennessee everywhere. This has been awesome, man. And all you, again, thanks for viewing in. Until next time, I got Tyler. You got anything to say before we wrap it up?
So honestly, just thank you to everybody.
Yeah.
Like Jason, Greg, everybody who joined today, all the viewers that are in here with us. Like, coming into this last year, like we had no idea what was going to happen, and we felt like we were a pretty big failure. That's probably the best way to put it, because everything kind of happened like 2 months to the draft and kind of just threw everything into a loop. But this year we had our first cycle to kind of like get everything together. And best way to put it is I'm really proud.
Yep.
Best way. Like everybody at the site's done a fantastic job, like connecting with everybody. Like Jason, especially, like you kick ass. Like that's serious. Like dude,
woefully inadequate to the product you all are placing out. So really impressed with what you all are doing.
But it's like this is just awesome to be able to do. Like this was a pipe dream a year ago.
Yep.
And now we're actually making it happen. So.
Also, shout out to our sponsor, Job Bats, for sponsoring the podcast. They do the coolest custom ash and maple bats out there. Check their stuff out. Use out code OnTheClock10 or OTC10. You can get a discount on that first order. They also had a custom bat for Jack Cags. Just throwing that out there.
They did.
That was pretty sweet. But yeah, again, thank you all for joining. And until next time, we'll see you.